live as I'm looking at my audio to make sure it didn't change, and it didn't, so we're good. Back again with Argarthia, down one player. Everyone's pissed at the party, so he's, doing his own thing for a while. We'll see.
Going all MGTOW on us.
Elves going their own way. Quick recap. Anyone can fill in the blanks if you think it's relevant, just for you guys to remember yourselves. You guys talked to the Queen about setting up this about this elven problem you're having. You basically got the go ahead to you should fight him, but quote unquote not even read between lines, pretty much almost directly. She said if you can track him down and find him before the fight, you can just kill him whatever way you want. Also, you were given express permission to enact, as long as you are willing to vet those people, the refugees, you've given the power to give them the ability to vote, as long as you take them in under your responsibility. If they go murder people, it's on you kind of thing.
Yep.
Or not murder people, more mostly they're turn out to be spies from Aldonia or something. That was mostly the implication. If they go and commit day-to-day crimes that normal citizens would commit, you wouldn't be responsible for that. Other than that, you were planning on catching up with Urislaw after your Tristan meeting, which I don't know what you're doing with Tristan, but I guess I'll find out. Just catching up with him, I guess. And I think that's all I can think of. Unless you guys have anything else you want to... Oh, thank you, Steve. So yeah, is that pretty much covered, or is there anything else on the docket that I'm not thinking of?
No, I don't have anything that I can think of.
I don't have anything.
As far as I can remember, that's it.
Do you guys hear music right now, or no?
No.
I do.
I see that there's music playing, supposed to be.
Yeah, but I don't hear anything. I don't know if it's me or Roll20.
I hear it.
You hear it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, maybe it's me. I'm going to refresh.
Oh. No, it just started for me as well. But it's super faint. Although that could be the cat stepping on my keyboard. It is not.
I'm just going to refresh.
It is super faint.
Oh god, it got
there we go.
way louder.
Yeah, it's very loud for me now.
Really? What the hell? I just refreshed. I'm not in yet.
Yeah, I did switch my headset.
Good job, Roll20. Did you change the volume, John?
Now I just did. I lowered it.
Okay.
But I can't hear it yet. But I'm still kind of loading into the game. I do like to have audio playing if it's possible.
Yep.
Roll20. Still not hearing anything, which is concerning. Oh, strange. Strange.
Yeah, especially to only be affecting you.
Yeah.
Is it out?
Yeah, I just cut it out because if you guys are going to go see Tristan, I have my specific vampire music.
Whoa.
Blood. Crips. What? Vampires come out of crypts and they suck blood.
That is accurate. There's no lie in what you said.
The real vampire, the eternal struggle, was going on for years in the mean streets.
The real vampire was the friends we made along the way.
No, that's a terrible thing to say.
Oops.
Oops. Which is interesting is that the tracks are playing in the... I can preview them in the thing to add to them in the game, but then they're not actually playing in the game. Strange.
Okay.
Why can't I hear anything? This is so annoying. Why can't it just work, please? Let me try adding it to the game again real quick. Add to game.
Oh, come on.
Alright, well, I'm gonna refresh one more time, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work for me, I guess. But yeah, we can move on while that's refreshing for me. You guys show up in the evening unless there's anything you want to do before that. I don't think I remember there's anything for you guys to do. If not, you head to the northwest of the town to Tristan's, and you can knock on the door. And yeah, the same old man will greet you. Oh, yes, you're here. -1, it seems.
Oh, yeah, he is a little upset and didn't want to come with.
Well, that's a shame. His tea was prepared, but nonetheless. And he'll kind of open the door wider and let you come in if you want.
Go in.
Yeah, as you guys all walk in. Oh, you're not invisible, right, Olivia?
No, I probably wouldn't be.
Alright, well, on the I guess I should just, like, make you walk in. On the threshold of the door, there is magical auras. If you want, you can concentrate and I can give you some schools. If not, you can just walk in.
I think I have... I'll try spellcraft them out of curiosity.
If I'm living invisibility, does invisibility purge make me disappear?
What?
Yeah, it kills you. It's like resurrecting an undead.
Yeah, I'll use that check just for... There's a few different spells on here. There's, Wait, is it spellcraft to identify a spell that is in place currently? That was as it's been cast.
There's a different DC for in place currently.
I thought it was like Knowledge Arcana.
Because that's basically identifying magical items.
Knowledge Arcana would be 3 higher.
Just for my own sanity. I thought there was definitely one that said identify.
Yeah, I was under the same impression.
There is identify spell effect that is in place is Knowledge Arcana 20 plus spell level. And your check was it would be 3 higher.
Yep.
So 24.
I have a 7 instead of a 4 in it.
I think you can get them all except for 1 with that check. Yeah. Yeah, you definitely can detect alarm and invisibility purge, and then there is a abjuration that eludes you as well. That goes beyond the door and is like more into the house as well.
Step away for just a minute, but I'll be back in a little bit. You guys can keep going because this is mostly Chandra stuff.
Sure.
Oh, I think he's giving me too much credit for having a plan.
Are you guys doing anything with that, or are you just walking in?
No, I'm walking in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We've been in and out before. I'm assuming it's just defensive stuff.
These weren't here last time you were here. But yeah.
Oh, then I will mention it. Like, they've got new protections. You said the ones I noticed was invisibility purge and what else?
Sorry, I'm just loading music up locally because I can't hear it still on my side. Invisibility purge, alarm, and one that eludes you.
So probably another defensive spell.
Yeah,
so
it's
something
abjuration.
probably happened, and he beefed up his defenses. Is my guess. Is the guy who let us in the same as the guy from last time?
Yes, it's the same guy.
As earlier today.
Yeah. Did I write his name down?
I think it's like Timothy. Or something.
I thought so, yeah, but I didn't want to make it up. Yes, Timothy. If that rings a bell, maybe I didn't write it down.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Timothy.
Yeah.
Because last time it was Peter. See, I can remember these things, but important details. You said they weren't there last time?
The enchantments on the door and into the house were not there last time, no.
Is that something we should be worried about, Olivia?
Oh yeah, are you guys saying this out loud, or are you just mentally talking about this?
I would have said it out loud because I'm assuming it's not a big deal. Just something happened, so
Yeah, if you say that, Timothy would say, "Oh, it's just a matter of protections on the premises. No need to worry.
Did something happen here?
The master's been concerned. I'm told my predecessors had difficulty with some issues. So he saw fit to spend some coin on improving the securities of his building."
Makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I'll go in. Wait, actually, let me defense motive first.
I'll go
believe him, but does Olivia believe him? That's the question.
I'll definitely just go in, and then you can do whatever you need to do to see if it's what's getting cast.
I am refreshing one final time. What did you roll?
37.
37. Ooh. Yes, seems to be not hiding anything. You don't get any signs of disbelief from him.
Based on what Chandra knows, like, she just assumes that he's out of the know about it because he doesn't know about Tristan's nature as far as she can tell from last time.
From last time, yeah, you were under the impression that he was not unaware of Tristan's vampiric nature.
Yeah, so she just assumes that even if, like, he wouldn't know about what was actually on there, even if he told them. So, I don't know. But I'm just gonna walk through.
Yep, same.
I'll assume Missy does too.
Yeah, I would assume you would. There we go. Got the music working for me finally.
Nice.
Yeah, you guys are, he guides you to the library/study area. And there is Tristan reading a book by the fire where he has a chair. There's 2 or 3 chairs near the fire to read with. And he kind of raises his head from his book and he stands up as he closes the page he was reading and waves at you all to approach. And as you guys come closer, he says, seems like it's been forever since we've last conversed. I was pleased when I got my when I awoke this evening that Timothy let me know you wanted to meet. And he kind of like waves a hand at Timothy, and Timothy will kind of bow his head and leave. Before you on a table there are your teas, including Evron's, so someone can have it if they want. But yeah, the teas you had ordered last session are there.
I'm gonna passive aggressively drink Evron's tea.
So, what may I do for you, Chandra?
Well, I came here for a couple of reasons. One, because we've had some issues recently in the Elven... Well, not this Elven. That wasn't the Elven lands.
On Two Fang Island.
Two Fang Island, there you go.
You went there?
Yes.
For what? And how
Tristan,
did you...
Before we answer that question, I want to know, what's your opinions of Two Fang Island? And who the current leadership is or could be, and what changes you've heard about?
Oh, God.
I've tried to stay out of the local politics of my home. I haven't been back there for 60 years now. I've heard of the troubling civil war that broke out, and it is a shame, but there's a community of us here in the mainland that don't really identify with the homeland anymore. So, don't really... Not caring is a little strong, but it doesn't concern me.
Very well. Then go ahead, Chandra. Tell him what you will.
Oh, yeah, we were there Are we able to tell him about what we were doing there?
It matters not to me. It seems like he's not concerned with it, and let's face it, they'll figure it out at some point.
Okay. Yeah, we went there because we were working with the elves to retrieve something or someone. It was a weird situation, and the whole thing you were just talking about, and I figured that you would be somebody that would probably have more information about that, or maybe the elves, or we got into some hot water with them recently in regards to, I don't want to say politics, because I don't know if it's legally binding, but...
Yes, my people and the elves have a long history of not being on the best of terms. I've personally, without getting too deep into the politics of everything, I believe they feel threatened by another creature that could even outlive them on this plane. They seem to be very full of themselves and think maybe they're only being given the divine right to live so long.
It's a good thing Everon's not here to hear you say that.
I've heard your friend is unlike the elves in their homeland.
Overall, yes, but doesn't like broad stroke associations of that sort being assigned to her people, even though it tends to be factually true when it comes for his people, especially considering that tends to be factual.
Yes, not every elf is this way. I just speak in generalities. But most of them view it that way, I believe.
Even when they're saying something nice, they sure do sound condescending.
Yes. I believe it comes with their long-lived lives, experience. They feel as if, when you've met an elder in a town, they have a certain saying where only things can be learned with time and age. If that was true, or is true, then the elves certainly believe it, and believe they know better than everyone else.
His parents were nice, though. But, well, also because of that stuff, and because I wanted to keep our deal, because it's been a while since I've been here, and I thought that I should keep my end of the bargain.
Yes, I definitely would enjoy that, but I believe part of our deal was an exchange, so if there's something of more value I could give you, I'd feel more justified in partaking in our agreement.
I can't think of anything offhand, but also I don't want you to have to look around for Timothy. I don't want you to have to go do that.
There must be something any of you need or want more insight on.
One thing that I could use, would you please stop eating your help?
Eating my help?
Why do you keep going through them so much? This is what, the third one we've seen so far?
My last one was attacked, do you not recall?
I thought he had survived.
He had, but he's quite old. He succumbed to his injuries quite shortly after.
I apologize then. I'm sorry. I'm making a misassumption here. We've been dealing with a lot of people doing a lot of bad things, and so my brain is starting to jump immediately to the worst case scenario and not alternative circumstances. I guess I'm turning somewhat elvish as well in that way.
Actually, you have been. You said, well, I mean, it is your homeland. Do you know? I don't remember that guy's name. The guy that was there.
Which guy?
The elf guy.
Elf guy?
Look back.
Why would he know anything about him? That wouldn't make any sense. What's more important is, what do you know about Safi?
Oh yeah. This person, sort of.
You have a ripped picture of her, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you produced that ripped picture, and he kind of comes up. Like, I assume you're like letting him come up and like touch it.
Yeah.
So he kind of like pushes it together and like looks at it and says, "Ah." As I get my notes on Safi. Yes, she's been around for a while. I've heard she's been stirring things up, sparking the civil war with, I believe, Ragshar. She leads one of the factions of Dampier's vampires on the island. I am not current with the information. You probably know more than me of her current status, but as far as I knew,
yes.
As far as I know, she is a powerful oracle. She could sense the future. She had powerful spells. She could reverse gravity. Is one of her signature things she could do that I'm aware of.
Oh, that would be useful. It would be a shame if she succumbed to that in some way by some mystical, magical, elvish or orcish persona that has some ability to manipulate time and space in a near equivalent way.
I guess.
Yes. Luckily, I don't have to worry about gravity with this. Whoosh.
Well,
And I'll like flutter my cape.
that's new.
Yes, it is. We found it there.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Well,
What were you doing there again? You said helping the elves retrieve someone.
yeah, there was some elf that was really old.
They had kidnapped a very high-ranking elven personality, and it was our responsibility to return them. There are details of it which are potentially details which we are supposed to be keeping sealed.
That's why I didn't want to talk about it. Well, that's why I wanted to bring it up, but I didn't want to be the one to talk about it because I don't know. what
You're
to talk
speaking
about.
of La Fennel.
How do you know?
There's only one ancient elf imprisoned on... Well, sounds like you've retrieved him. He was imprisoned on Two Fang for hundreds of years.
He would have been
By
there for-
Safi originally?
No. The Vasily family ran the prisons. He was imprisoned for, he tries to recall, it was hundreds of years. It was before I was turned, and yes, I recall. He was one of the few enlisted to help forbiddance the entire island and help put enchantments on it to protect our people from discovery. And it was alleged, this was before my time, just for vague histories I've read, it was alleged and he was tried and found guilty of betraying our trust and revealing our secrets to people. So he was imprisoned for crimes against our people.
So, just to be clear, he helped you as an elf, which would normally be against his nature.
This was hundreds of years ago. I believe the elves and vampires were on better terms. Perhaps they hired him and he was unaware of our origin. Maybe that's what led to his betrayal once he found out. I'm not too sure in the particulars. This happened a few centuries ago.
If you had to choose between Safi and the family of, I have it spelled wrong. It's Vasilev, Vasily. Which which do you think you would ally yourself with?
This remains here. The reason I no longer live there is because I prefer none. I prefer to live in the way, not to sound condescending, you people live. I prefer Argarthia's policies and the way things are run here instead of how they're run there.
So freedom isn't much an option there.
What do you mean?
It seems like a lot of people are being told a lot of things to do all the time there. It seems like it's much more of a, one might call it a dictatorship than a regency.
depending on how the Civil War pans out, how it was run previously was there was a council of 5 that made decisions for the island. Each council member was a leader of a tribe of lycanthrope or vampire, so they would be our representative at the table. So more or less, we got our what we wanted to happen. Of course, if the council votes a certain way, everyone is beholden to it.
But what do you think if one Vasily were to take control of everything?
A sole owner, or
Yes.
dictatorship, as you put it. I personally believe that absolute power corrupts, and varying perspectives help keep a leader or leaders giving fair and just rulings. With just one individual running everything, I feel it is a matter of time before she does things that will probably benefit just herself. Perhaps disenfranchise the lycanthropes, and she is a vampiric or dhampir, so she lacks that perspective. That's my opinion on the matter. That's what
So
actually
you're not
what-
aware that there's already a war that has broken out between the werewolves and the vampires?
Yes, I know there's civil unrest, and
No, we were under issues of both of them directly being aggressive to each other. In fact, we were threatened, and our only out was to basically sacrifice others to the situation.
I've heard minor rumors of what's happening over there. It's mildly interesting to me. Not so much since I don't plan on ever moving back there, but if that is the case, that is sad that they have resorted to such barbarism. Identifying with one's lineage is perhaps, I guess, natural, maybe, but seems a little uncivilized to merely invoke them as their enemy just because they're different. But such is history, I guess. The elves sticks to their own. The dwarves have recently, I've heard, clamoring back to their mountains. Perhaps that is the natural order of things.
It feels like that stifles progress, but
I agree.
thank you. That was important. There was useful information.
Yeah, I thought that maybe since those guys were in there a couple hundred years ago, and we were told that he's been down there for a while, that it'd be a good idea to come talk to you, because you seem like you would know at least something about it. So thank you.
My pleasure. Well, not completely my pleasure yet.
Out of character, when we were talking to the werewolves,
Mm-hmm.
and they had talked about the dragon that Rakshar was working with or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Was that in my head or was that out loud?
I don't recall how you ascertained that.
Do you guys remember,
I'm pretty sure the werewolves were just saying it out loud to you guys.
Okay.
I remember it, but that also might be me remembering it as a player. As far as I remember, the only conversation you had to them was in their heads was when we were going to the place.
Maybe.
Because I remember that he turned around to look at you, and then you were talking to him about whatever you were talking to him about. That I don't remember the details about that conversation, but that was the only time I remember you talking to them specifically, telepathically. But I could be wrong.
So then I would ask Tristan about the dragon, if he knew anything about a dragon on the island.
Ooh. Dragon on the island. That's.
We heard whispers while we were there. We didn't get a whole lot of information. We're just wondering if you had any.
He's he makes a look of thinking, he's looking up in the air, rubbing his temple and thinking There have been a number of dragons I've seen come and go on the islands, but I don't think any calls it its home. But again, I haven't been there in the last 60 years. So it is possible it happened since my departure.
Yeah, I'm a sentinel. He's probably telling the truth. But... Jeez. Roll 20's being so slow.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, oh, there you go.
You don't sense that he's lying, but you have, like, an air of, like, something's... Like, okay, yeah, this is what you get from it. Because you've been talking to him for a while, when he was, like, thinking and looking up, like, you could tell he was, like, faking that. Like, he actually probably knew the answer to your question, like, right away. But, like, the way he paused, like, you just read into his body language and you're like, oh, this guy, like, knows right away, but he's, like, pretending to think about the answer.
Maybe it's in that one book that you had, and I'll, like, unless he stops me, I'll start kind of, like, looking around to see if I can find that book with, like, the famous people in it that I found the information about the Black Dragon in the pages of. The one that I...
Do you remember which book you...
I think it was the one I found about Jet, De Volpe, and... Because I was looking for information about... Oh, God, why can't I remember his name? Everon's mentor...
Valu.
Valu, thank you. I was looking for stuff about Valu, and there was like some book about important people, and I think I came across stuff about Jet in there as well.
Did you write down the name of the book? Just because I have a name of books here, and I don't remember which one you read, so I didn't want to give you...
I hope I did, but probably not. No, I don't.
Well, regardless, I can say if you read a book about wizards, there's one called Wicked Wizards and Their Whereabouts.
That might have
actually sounds right.
Yeah. 'Cause I remember I was looking for information about Valu.
So yeah, sorry, what do you want to get from this book? There's nothing to be about... I don't know why there's something about dragons in here.
Was that the
we
one where
read
I found...
2 books. That was not the only book. There was one that was a history book that just had the war of the war with the Nightmare Dragon.
I have another book here. I don't know if you read it, but it was called Dragons, Known Rulers of the Skies.
I don't think that was the one. This was just had a history. We didn't get information about the Nightmare Dragon. We got historical information about the dragon.
Oh, this might have just been like a bland history book or something.
But I don't remember. Maybe we did, but I don't think we did, because we would have also looked up the Dream Dragon and the 3-headed one.
Yeah, I think there was like information that wasn't, or that was about the dragon, but I don't think that it was like explicitly. I think it was like notes somebody had written into there or something, and I might be wrong.
Oh, that does sound familiar. Let me see if I have notes on that, which I probably don't.
I think that there was something in the margins or something like...
That's ringing a bell. I didn't write the name of the book, but I have the names of the people you found out from the book, but I didn't write anything about the dragon stuff. So I must have rolled something, and then there must have been just like a luck chance or something on that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I rolled pretty high on some sort of like something like that. But I'll just like start looking around for that book and start describing it to him.
Yeah, he looks befuddled. Doesn't you can find that book eventually, the wizard one that has like the famous wizards and where to find them.
Yeah, I'm sure she doesn't remember the name of the book specifically either, so she doesn't really. She's just looking for something that looks familiar.
Yeah, I'll just say it is called the Wicked Wizards and Their Whereabouts.
I think you have a couple other random books in there because I was looking at stuff for the to find out what those numbers meant and found out that it was just like library books.
It was their due dates.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can pull that book back out, go back to that page with the margins, and yeah, like there was just about that specific dragon that you learned about. There's no like generic other dragons talked about in here.
There's no like, and then you cut out.
There's no other dragon information, like random other dragons talked about in this book anyway.
I'm sure something here's got to have more information about these dragons.
Yeah, but if you say that, he'll say, "Oh, maybe you're looking for this one." He'll pull out that book called "Dragons: Known Rulers of the Skies," and he'll say, "This book has a lot of information about dragons." And he kind of just puts it on the little table, or he'll get the book, bring it back down, and put it on this little side table in front of you guys.
That's probably the one. I mean, it has the word dragons on it, so.
That it does. Well, what did you want to know? What are you trying to figure out about dragons?
I forgot what we remembered about that guy.
Well, I don't remember which faction, but one of the factions
It was the werewolf one.
were. I was actively not saying it, but I could see Sean just saying
she
that.
would definitely do that and not realize that you were doing
The
it.
lycanthrope have access to a dragon?
Well,
Oh,
They
that's
said-
What
probably...
they say.
they said that their leader does, but
Huh. Well, that'll definitely swing the tide in their favor in the war if they do have such a thing. Dragons are powerful creatures.
Why would you say people seek dragons? It's almost as if they can get power from the dragons. Or do they just use them for their own means? Like,
I'm no expert on dragons. I am but a human turned vampire. But for my time on this earth, I've known many people to seek dragons for multiple reasons. There's some who seek to slay them because they are evil and so forth. Other dragons are known to be good. Some seek them for aid. There are even, I've heard of some dragons who are from different planes that have unique abilities that are sought after. Could be a many number of things.
some of them probably think that if they help them out, then they'll be spared. And I don't think that's the case. Not with this nightmare dragon, anyways. But, that's right. Some of them are good, aren't they? Or supposedly.
I've not encountered one myself, but I've heard a certain shade of color will tend to be
But, like,
good.
chrome ones or the...
Out of character, I don't remember. Chromatic or evil?
Chromatic or evil, metallic are usually good.
There you go. So yeah, he'll say that. I think the chromatic ones are usually the evil ones, and the metallic colors are usually some good aligned creature.
Do you think that some of the good aligned ones would be willing to help us against the nightmare dragon?
Well, you see, alignment is a fickle thing. A good creature may view it a good deed to help its kin over helping mankind. It's here nor there.
For example, say there was like a man running around with a bow, and he took it upon himself to execute every single dragon that he encountered. A good dragon might perceive that person as a threat to all of dragonkind and might be willing to take them out. Or say there was like a human that was running around with a sword that talked to him and told him it was a good idea to kill dragons. Other dragons might get upset and formulate some sort of anti-human group to take out that man.
These are all very good examples of why alignment is ambiguous at times and meant to be more of guidelines than rules,
Yes.
in my opinion.
Evil merely means that they're likely to eat you for no reason. But not necessarily a good one won't.
It depends, I would say. I've seen
Yes,
good
that's
people.
true.
I've seen good people kill creatures just for being evil. That's not a good act.
Yes, but those people are usually crazed zealots anyway, and that doesn't necessarily make them good either. They just believe themselves to be good.
I think the whole alignment thing is all perspective. That's why it fascinates me.
I know, Alluvial, I know, but I think there is something to it. We wouldn't have these systems to detect them if it didn't have some meaning.
It does. It's more which
It's about
city
proclivity.
it's like what city do you work for? Only it's gods instead of cities. That's all. It's like if you work with this god, then you are good. Even though you wantonly kill the followers of another god just because they are evil,
I don't think it would work that way, but we'd have to experiment with it. We'd have to get someone to detect a number of people and capture a number of zealots, and then we could identify what their alignments prove to be based on their actions. Ooh, maybe there's some kind of test we could do, like a mind test. Oh wait, that might make Everon even more upset with me.
Oh, tests, gross.
As thrilling as this debate is,
You don't like tests?
He kind of looks at you, Chandra, and is clearly like eyeing your neck, and says,
Yeah.
I'm rather parched. It's been some time. Perhaps we could take a quick refreshment break from
Sure.
this. Yeah, and he will. He only like guides Chandra to like a back room, leaving you two here. I don't know if Chandra you want to, or if everyone insists on following, but
Yeah, it's fine.
Free will.
It is what it is.
yeah. So he guides you back to near the front of the house where that like dining room was, and brings you in there, and he just says, "I'm always a fan of this deal we struck." And we'll kind of just like brush your hair to the side and tilt your neck if you allow him to. Like he kind of like approaches you like waiting for you to like give it a nod of approval before he touches you, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you like acknowledge it's okay, he'll like brush your hair aside and then tilt your head a bit, and
I
he will.
consent.
Yeah, he will bite your neck, and you can roll me the 1d6, I believe it is.
And
Let me double check because I think we were saying we were doing this wrong before. It is. Because I don't want you to lose more con than you need to. Vampiric hunger. He needs to make a will save to stop drinking.
That much I remember.
But where's the roll for how much you lose? I thought it was 1d6, but maybe I'm incorrect.
Pretty sure it was 1d6.
Where is this? Oh, here, 1d4. That's right.
Would you like me to re-roll that then? Or?
What did you roll? Oh, you rolled a 1. It's within the range. We'll just keep it. You rolled a 1. And then he'll make a will save to stop drinking. And then there's modifiers based on how long it's been since he's drank.
Yeah.
He'll have a minus that. He stops drinking after the 1 con is drained. He kind of pulls back and cleans. He has like this white handkerchief he pulls out and dabs his lips to clean the excess blood up. Says, that was refreshing. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a few things I must take care of, but I can rejoin you in 10 or 15 minutes. But feel free to rejoin your friends if you wish in the library.
All right.
it takes them a while.
While they're back there, I'm actually gonna think to Bissy. Like, so, is there a plan?
We're just here letting this happen, and then
No, for when this inevitably blows up. Is there an actual plan, or
you
are
think
we
this
just waiting for it
Tristan
to
thing is
happen?
going to blow up?
Wouldn't it have to eventually?
No, not everything does that. Like Valu never blew up in her face. He's just an asshole. That's just who he is.
Okay. Girls,
If anything, I'm actually just the most worried that vampire is going to sleep with them, because it seems like everyone with any sort of magical talent ends up sleeping with them. Maybe the cat will even sleep with them.
A few minutes after your discussion.
Wait, does that mean Everon is sleeping with him?
Oh god. Chandra makes her way. I'm assuming you go back to the party. You can make your way back to the party. That only took a few moments.
Yeah.
I don't know if you like subconsciously hide your like vampire marks or you just don't care. You just let it show.
I don't really necessarily care if they see it per se, but I do have my what is it? my
have a
bladed
choker?
scarf.
Oh,
So
that's not a choker.
no. I have
Yeah, so you could
my-
either cover it or just by chance it may cover it, but I mean, I'm pretty sure the party knows what you're doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know if anyone cares or whatever. But yeah, you come back out and you have access to his library if there's any books you want to look at or research. If not, you guys can wait for him to come back and ask him any final questions, or if you didn't have anything, you guys can just dip.
Are there any books on the gods?
There is.
Is it
Well,
also
sure.
stolen from the library?
Yes, all
Probably,
these.
yeah.
Every book you open has like those numbers that they have like a due date that they were supposed to be returned to somewhere. It'll take you about 5 minutes. You're pretty quick. You find this book called Gods: Loopholes Everywhere.
Damn.
I actually want to read about porno, if at all possible.
Yeah, so you can just right when you open the book and look at the table of contents, it's organized by deity. So if you just like immediately flip to Forno, it's immediately talking about all these ways to like loophole with Forno. So like, do you want to like know about this like in particular, or do you want just like the gist?
Oh yeah, the gist is fine, but that's not what I was after. But sure.
Yeah, this book is all about like basically how to loophole things with the gods. So if you flip to the Forno page,
Isn't reading this, though, then sort of creating a paradox?
why?
Because the gods know that you've read it, so they should have better knowledge as to how to... I wonder what some of these are like. I'm curious now. I want to see
Maybe this book exists outside of time, so they
And
don't
in-
know you read it because you
in
never
theory-
technically read it.
In theory, if you use this book against Arfin, aren't you inherently violating Arfin directly and therefore creating your own loop paradox?
Maybe you just
Or
implode.
are you strengthening your resolve by making sure you don't unintentionally loophole things?
And if you do this to Delic, does Delic give you bonus points?
It's the inverse of Arfin, yes.
So the main gist here is this passage talks about in depth that the god of death enjoys bartering with souls. If you're able to get him to agree to something that's like inadvertently like favoring you, like let's say you like convoluted way like agree to do like one soul and he's sacrificing 2 or something. This is like you can like do this and it will be like something that Forno will get pissed at, but it's like fully within your like ability to do. So for example, if you were like that example where you were like, I want to res those 2 guys, but you're like, oh, I'll promise you I'll kill a bunch of souls and I'll give you like this one powerful soul if you let me do this. You like basically traded 1 soul for 2, and like if Forno doesn't catch on to that, it's like a bad. Apparently, this is like bad for his like domain to trade like numerically odd number souls. So like basically he wants 2 souls for a soul for a soul. But if you are able to like trick him or like do something that like makes him unfavorable in the trade, it's like it will allegedly. This patch says it will empower you with some power over Forno, over death itself. It says.
Oh, because
That
it's like
explains why I got
it's
so
a
pissed then.
yeah, it's a cheating death thing.
Exactly.
All right, I want to see the Arfin stuff.
All right, so you like crowd Alluvial and you like, let me see that, and you like flip to the Arfin page.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
When they're done looking at those, I just want to look at the table of contents.
All right, yeah. For loopholes with Arfin, this passage talks. There is a big warning at the top that's saying they highly advise you do not do this or try to do this. But if you are gutsy and have some ill will towards Arfin, the best way to gain power over him or create a loophole within his domain is to trick people into thinking they're getting good deals, but they're not.
Okay,
So specifically, yeah, and specifically if you're dealing with Arfin himself, if you are convincing the god of fair trade, or he's not the god of fair trade, the god of trade and commerce, that he is in the presence of a fair or just deal, and really it's not. So if you're able,
Right,
if
you
you're
have
able to
some kind of
deceive,
secret stipulation on top of it that you've hidden from him, maybe because you made dealings with other gods
Yes.
that he was not privy to.
if you were able to accomplish this feat, you will gain power over the god of trade and commerce. The benefits of that are unknown, but
Is there a passage about people who have attempted and failed to control all of the gods?
to control all of the gods.
Yes, to like basically go through and trick each and every one of the gods to gain like power over them.
If you flip back to the table of contents, you'll see that there is some like anecdotal stories in a section, and if you go there, there is indeed a tale of someone who his goal was to trick or get one over each god, and allegedly he only got through 7 of the 12 before
Still impressive.
going missing. No one.
Going missing.
Yeah, it's like a very vague story. Sounds like, so it starts out like this happened like 300 years ago. There's a tale of this, like no one knows his name, and he did like it would give you examples of like what he did to trick the gods. Like for example, so it starts with Ariel. What did he do to Ariel? Goddess of life, birth, and creation. So he... Well, I don't want to get too into sensitive subjects for people, but essentially he created a pregnancy and then terminated it. And that was like his way of getting one over the goddess of life and birth. Plosis, god of law and order. He... so this was not a good dude, apparently.
I don't think you could be to be trying to get one up on every one of the gods, because you have to do one to like all the good ones, and it would be pretty terrible.
Yeah, so I'm not going to go through each of these examples, but essentially you get the idea that he started using the gods against each other. So for Pelosis, for example, this is the god of law and order. He beseeched Azrael for his aid to start some chaos in some manner. And upon reaching and doing that, by like striking against Pelosis, like as he got further down to other gods, like he would try to cross on Azrael back, and eventually, like this is allegedly this caught up to him at the 7th try. Who's the 7th?
Yeah, because the gods start catching on to, hey, this guy is doing this thing.
Yeah, eventually they're like, look, I hate you, but let's get rid of this guy.
Ironically enough, the 7th god was Arfin, and this is the one he allegedly did not complete, and this is when he went missing, trying to cross the god of trade and commerce.
Oh, that sounds like a good deal for him.
Actually, speaking of the table of contents, there aren't any names on there that we aren't familiar with, are there?
Like unknown gods?
Yeah, or any ones that we haven't...
No, so there are 12 sections, one for each god. There's one for the anecdotal stories, and then there's one for like about the author.
Yeah, who is this author? I am now curious, since you're gonna tell me there's an about the author. And is this that name that keeps floating around your campaign?
No, it's a different name. I think you guys could identify like lineage by name by now. His name is Penlador Erebruniel, clearly of elven descent.
Yep.
I'll flip through my wizard book and see if that name comes up or that family name comes up.
No, this is not a name you would find anywhere in that book. The about him section is just like a paragraph. It just has like some minor it doesn't seem like it was even written by him. It seems like it was written in like like someone wrote it about him. It just says he's one of the longest living elves, collecting these stories from individuals and visiting the 4 corners of the realm, gathering these tales from the gods and stuff like that. Nothing like super special about him. Just says he was just an elf who traveled the world and got these stories and put them into this book.
And eventually disappeared.
No, it just says well, this book was... I don't know if they would date the book when it was written, but it basically says, like, at the end, just says, like, he is currently living in his premises in the Elven lands, whatever.
But it didn't say anything about the god that he got one over on doing anything to him. It was pretty much. It didn't make it seem that way.
It did not. It did not imply that the gods he screwed over did anything to him. Now, why he disappeared? Maybe all the gods like did something to him, or who knows? It just says he vanished.
I'd assume one of the things is if you get one over on them, they can't take you out. You gain power over them because you've committed an act that is above the scope of their power.
Maybe Bisaba puts that together from reading the between the Forno and the other stories. When, especially, I don't know, if Steve as the player is smarter than Bissy or whatever. But when you said you cheated death, it's literally that's the same for every god. If you up them, it's they're kind of the stories are implying you're out of their reach now because you've tricked them or done something that is more. You outsmarted a god, so they're oh shit, all right, respect, do your thing,
but we also we'd also like you to be dead if that can be if that can happen.
Maybe, probably,
or erased.
Yeah.
He's the unnamed person because he no longer has a name.
Which ones did he not screw over?
He did not get the chance to screw over Arfin, Dalek, Azrael, Serial, Cossus, and Forno. So he did screw over, allegedly.
Oh,
Ariel,
he was doing them. He's doing them in the order.
He did do them in the order, yeah. So he did Ariel, Pelosis, Savras, Irtis, Kala, and then Tencel, and then he was unable to complete his screwing over of Arfin. So he was
I guess that makes sense. If you're gonna do it, you would do it in the order of good, who are probably the most likely to be tricked. And then,
well, not even just tricked. They're more likely to not smite you too. I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. You're a good guy. You can't do this.
I'm gonna probably read too much into this and assume that the ones that weren't tricked over were the same gods like Dalek and Arfin are, and commit that to her mind because she's too lazy to read the rest of those about this guy. But Bissy, you know about languages, right?
Hold on one second. How does one get one over on Dalek? Go ahead with your question, but I want to make sure that the universe is prepared for my question. Go ahead. Sean.
You know about languages, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay, good. You were asking when this was written, right? You were seeing if there's a date on there?
I wasn't, but that was
I assume
something.
that in character that something happens to, I don't know. Would you be able to read it and see if it's written in a way that people still speak today? Is that a thing you can do?
I mean, I'm not really worried about when it was written.
I'm kind of curious about this guy.
Yeah, I guess now that you're pointing that out, you could tell that I guess how long in our history did it take for English to evolve? It was centuries, right? Every century there's probably new vernacular. So yeah, you can probably tell there's some idioms that you don't understand, but in general you can read it. But it's just there's probably a phrase or two that it seems like a local saying that you don't get, where it says I can't even think of an idiom right now.
A bird in the hand is worth two in the bush.
Exactly, it's something like that you have no idea what the hell that means, and it's it must be from a
people
time
still
past.
use it, and we don't even really understand what that means.
Yeah,
but it doesn't take enough away from the context to be able.
Exactly. It's clearly an irrelevant, or it's a witty saying or something that means nothing to you today. So clearly it was written in the past, sometime. It must have been at least 100 years ago. But on the Dalek question, while you're just quickly looking at that before I forget, if Bissy flips to the Dalek page, to get one over on the God of Trickery is to foil one of his own tricks. So if you somehow know Dalek is trying to do something to trick someone, and you ruin it, kind of like ruining a magician's trick, when a magician's doing a trick and you call out, "Oh, he's palming it" or whatever, and you ruin the whole thing. So yeah, if you're someone Dalek construed this way to trip that guy and fall into this mud, and you caught him before he fell into the mud, foiling a trick would get one up on the God of Trickery.
Okay.
Or,
I want to flip my coin because now I have a really interesting question that I think might be hard for Arfin to answer. And my question is tricking the God of Trickery a fair deal?
Sorry,
and
Ryan,
then I'm
what were
going
you
to flip
saying?
the coin.
Oh, I was just saying, like airing an hour-long special on Fox. That's a good way to foil him. I'm gonna write down his name. I'm gonna find some sheet or something that I can write it down on. And
Oh, the author?
yeah,
I'll put it in chat if you care.
okay, because I, as a player, will probably forget. And Chandra will probably forget, but it'll be written down somewhere for somebody to remember for.
Yes. And the coin is flipped. Sorry, rephrase the question for me.
Is tricking the god of trickery a fair deal?
That is a good question. Ryan, are you aware I'm waiting on you on something?
Oh,
Oh, okay.
I don't want to say it. I didn't know what. I guess
I was
could've
kind of
spammed
expecting
him.
a prompt there, but
The coin anxiously flips in the air slowly. Are you hiding this flip, or are you just like doing this in the open? You're just like,
no, I'm gonna flip it in the open. I would have no reason to hide it. I don't think that either of them are going to grab it because we've talked about this. Like,
then,
I grab it and jump out the window.
I
Got him.
fireball and hope that you're still within 60 feet.
There are no windows in here, by chance.
Makes sense. Sunlight.
Yeah, no sunlight.
Did you ask the question in your head or out loud?
I asked the question in my head. I do not quite ask the question out loud unless, like, I need people to hear it. Got a graphic now, or got a novel going on in the, in whatever's about to happen to this coin. I'm excited for the result of this. The suspense is killing me, guys. The suspense is killing me.
Whoops!
Oh
Rips.
no!
All right. Well, the coin lands on the Dalek side.
Okay. And no, there's no heat to it, right?
No heat.
Okay.
but I'm assuming that I probably like look over as that happens.
Yeah, you're drawn to this as it flips. You're drawn. If you were distracted by something, you're like drawn to this action as it happens.
Yeah, I was like looking for something to write down on and like write with and.
Well thought out, John. By the way, well thought out. Can I ask an character question real quick, since I'll
Sure.
never ask this question again? Was it for Dalek wanting the coin to flip to Arfin so that I would try to trick him, so that I would create like a whole?
I can
meta
neither
trick
confirm nor deny
All right,
these.
I'm right. I'm right.
assumptions. But yeah, you get the Dalek side.
All right. Oh, that's great. I love it.
But yeah.
I love this coin.
Any other investigatory work in the gods or anything else you guys want to look at?
I think that's all I got.
Yeah, not unless I can find anything else about dragons or.
Dragons or what?
I don't know. I was trying to think if there was anything else that we were looking for, because like Chandra's getting very worried about this nightmare dragon thing.
If you keep looking for more, there are no more dragons or no more books on dragons, but there is another book on gods. It's just called The Gods in Their Glory, by another elven name. I don't know if you want it or not. I can give it to you. But clearly this book is about just like praising the gods and noting
Does
like
it
good
list
things.
their glories in order of largest to smallest?
No.
It doesn't like look like it has any information about like anything that most followers of those gods wouldn't know or anything like that.
Yeah, there's no like, did you know? Blah blah blah. It's more like, well, it is kind of like that, but more about like deeds attributed to being attributed to the gods. Nothing
Yeah,
like
if you were to ask a
unknown
follower of
like facts
Arfan-
about the gods or something like that.
Yeah, if you were to ask followers of Arfan, you could probably find out the same information, just like any of the other gods.
Oh, like they would know these stories? No,
Like-
not necessarily, but
Oh, okay.
there was just like deeds being attributed to them. This book was written like hundreds of years ago, maybe. It's like 100 to 200 years ago, and it's like written by an elf, so it could be stories that have been happened that he wrote about hundreds of years ago that no one today knows about. At least human, but
I'll chuck it over to them and see if either any of them want to look at it, but I'll just continue going through the bookshelf and looking for stuff.
Definitely. I want to skim the porno.
yeah, the Forno section is actually interesting. It talks about him like saving people. It talks about this war that plagued the elves actually, and that there was like some inner conflict within the way it's written is like it's as if you knew certain things but you don't know those things. So it's like Alluvial's pretty smart, right? What's your end?
My answer. I'm a wise character, not a smart
Wise character.
I think it's 10.
Well, I guess wisdom makes sense here too, because you're inferring by what it's saying, so you're like making inferences.
Yeah, my end is 10. Well, I'm not
Yeah, I mean you're just
dumb.
Yeah, I think wisdom is more
smart.
applicable here anyway. You're like inferring things. You're not like recalling or anything like that. You're making sense of it. It's basically implying like you would know this, but you don't. So it's talking about like how the elven clans were fighting. So it's like one, you didn't even know that the elves were ever in different clans or whatever. But yeah, it's saying like Forno is attributed to sparing the lives of several elves by ending this great elven war, where elves were losing their lives left and right, and assumingly Forno stalled the battle between this important moment and spoke amongst the leaders of these clans and told them to settle their differences via like talk it out basically, and the god of death would bring back their loved ones from this war or something. This is the story. Who knows if this is true or not, but allegedly yeah.
Is any of
Does
this
it say that
mentioned
he
out loud?
actually did bring back their loved one?
Yes, it is said that he brought back each of the clan leaders, someone important they lost during this war. So, like, one, it was, like, his partner, one, it was a child, one, it's like, it lists, like, a different type of person. So whether that's, like, part of the story to make it more exciting, or it actually just happened to be a different, like, class of person. So, like, one was a partner, one was a child, one was, like, a father, one was a mother, one was a grandfather, one was, like, something like this. Family member.
Do you mention any of this?
No.
Damn.
But
Well-
it's saying that he did this to
stop the war.
end the war.
Which is like you find this very odd because the war
Yeah.
would go on and more lives would be given to him, but apparently he was invested in stopping the loss of life here.
At
For
this
some
point, I
reason.
definitely want to go over to the Kala section. Because
Yeah.
Kala was the opposite side to Forno.
I mean that's been posited. It's not like
Yeah.
a fact.
That's been posited by Chandra, so there's like a small fact or chance that that's real.
Well, Kala's the one who's all about returning to the cycle, and he's the one that's all about death.
Yeah, it's all about the cycle itself of from birth to death.
Yeah. Again, this is if Bissy was reading this, he would be saying this screams Uhtred to him. It's a very militaristic version of Kala. It's talking about actually it describes someone similar to Uhtred. This chosen warrior of Kala going around quashing these people that were disturbing the cycle, as the story puts it. Where, like, when you're reading this, it seems very biased, where the writer, or at least the storyteller of this tale, is not, like, giving any light to, like, well, was that a bad thing that they were stopping? It, like, goes into how, like, they murdered a vampire because they were not returning to the cycle. It doesn't say if the vampire was doing bad things or anything. It just says like they sought out this vampire, they killed him, and Kala praised him because he murdered the vampire and because that's a abomination to the cycle. And then it talks about they even hunted a dragon down because of their long lifespan, that were outliving its other kin, and that it was their time to return to the cycle. It talks about how they were given prophetic words from Kala of exact individuals who had cheated their time and were needing to be returned to the cycle. So, like, it's a story about us. It lists a name that I have here. It lists Jonas Boulderdown, who was a wizard who was apparently he cheated death multiple times and was due to be in the cycle a number of times, but he was a powerful spellcaster who made use of spells like clone and simulacrum and avoided death, astral projection, avoided death multiple ways. And this angered Kala, apparently, that he was scheduled to be in the cycle and he was not there. So this is like a particular person that this guy hunted down and murdered well, not murdered, I guess. Well, I don't know what like a just killing, if it's still called murder or whatever, but whatever.
Wait, then how would Ariel feel about this?
Mm-hmm.
Is there any reference to that within the book?
Every story, when you flip to like a god section, it doesn't talk about any other god except for the god you're reading about.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm satisfied. Alluvial's basically, he's got a theory that the gods are also on a cycle of a sort, where they go like through this, where they not switch sides, but almost like they switch sides.
Oh, like
one's more evil and one's more good. Like death can be a good thing; it's a natural thing, but it can also be an evil thing where you're going around actively killing people. And returning to the cycle could be the same. So in his mind, he's like, oh, okay, so, interesting.
kind of like a lunar cycle thing where, like, eventually they come back around to where they were.
Yep.
That's not as good of an example as I was hoping it would be, but you know.
No, I got what you mean.
I was really hoping you would mention that out loud, so like Chandra could start propagating something about how Forno returns them back as vampires, and then split the clans into two, and that's how the vampires became a thing. But
oh shit, that was the dawn of vampires.
Just start spreading heinous rumors about things. But yeah, I'm just gonna keep looking through and see if I don't find anything about dragons, anything that looks like it'd be interesting.
Well, what's interesting to you?
Or about
your mom.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like the
literally.
The tower is tower the right word?
Mm-hmm.
In Uno, or the prison.
Yeah, that is a famous structure. Let me see if you would have a book on it.
And if not, I'll ask him when he gets back, because I'm sure he's due back any minute now.
I'm gonna need to step away for a little bit in a couple of minutes.
Yep.
Yeah, whenever you're ready to go, let me know. We'll just take a break. We haven't taken a break in a while. Unfortunately, there is no books here on architecture or structures in the world. Seems like that's like a missing area of knowledge in this library.
Then I guess I'll just like start looking for stuff about. Well, I guess not stuff about, but like anything that might have like a map of the world or geographical maps or anything that might help us.
Yes.
With that. There
is an ancient map of the entire world, if you want it, that you can find.
See, like this. There's all kinds of good stuff for you guys to read in this book, or in these books.
Well, I don't know if you guys are going to memorize this, but do you have a way to like transcribe this, or do you guys care enough? Like, I guess I'll just reveal the map.
Hold on.
Nice.
Then I can go to a cartographer and have them make us a copy.
All right, that makes it easy.
Yep.
For me. As I
really like the memorized page.
Yeah, I just don't have a high intel mod, so I can't use it as often. I have to like use it, give the info to somebody else, and then do it again.
You guys unlock the whole map finally.
You said this was like an ancient map, right?
Yes.
Are there any things on the map that are
marked?
Different.
Yeah, that are different, or marked as different.
Or marked, yeah.
Also, it's not revealed, by the way. I think we have to. I think
south.
we might actually have to
Opened
pull
up.
our minis out.
South of the map should be revealed.
Oh, there's. I see the south.
No, I
yeah.
got nothing.
Way south.
You don't
of
see-
Oh, okay. I see. Yeah, I see Stormreach,
Mm-hmm.
Houndmoor. I do see it now. Never mind.
I was expecting like the black to disappear, and then I realized that was not the case.
For some reason, I saw the sea of memes, and I thought that was the same.
Oh shit! It's ancient crab, Hydra.
Yeah, that is actually on that map that you reveal. But there in Hammer, there is a dragon skull drawn.
Oh fuck! Is it like any particular color?
No, it's like stenciled in, so no coloring in it, but it's like a dragon head.
Is this down here a thing in the bottom?
No,
left?
that's just
Okay.
it's just to indicate
just-
water.
I just see the half ship, and I just didn't know
Yeah,
if
it's
that
just
mattered or not.
it's just a little picture.
Okay.
Doesn't mean anything.
Oh, okay. And I will point this.
That
thing out.
actually does mean, well, maybe something. That is not just like a
What
random.
the hell is this? I'm just gonna like look at it and then show it to.
I don't know.
Bessie.
Everyone's not here. I'll share it with her later, or
Okay.
him later.
Really?
Some
You
sort
know
of
what that
ancient
is?
dweller.
No, nobody knows.
Nope.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. As long as we don't have a rocket.
But on this map, is there? Where is this dude from? Damn it! I can't find that dude's name.
Hmm.
Oh, Amatsu.
Amatsu is in.
Oh yeah, I see it there.
yeah.
Okay, we've already seen it.
Oh shit! Sea of Ghosts. What the fuck? I guess I don't know if this has come up or not. But you said something earlier. Is this world believed to be like a globe or like flat or not known or?
I guess that would be unknown. This is just like the known world, apparently, according to this map.
Okay, because you said something about like the four corners of the planet or the Earth or whatever.
Yeah, that was
And
right in the book like that. Yeah.
That was more of like a me as a player question. I don't think Chandra would like.
Yeah, they got to the edge and they looked over and they saw a giant turtle and they were like, "Oh, can't go any further." All right.
Of course, like
I need
Valheim,
to-
you just see an endless waterfall.
Yeah, let's take a quick break.
Yep.
Sounds good.
We're back. You guys memorized the new map.
I'll be sketching it out later.
Yeah, at some point while you guys are poring over this new map, Tristan will come back in the room. Kind of clear his throat as you guys are looking at this and just say, well, it's getting rather late. Did you guys have dinner yet?
No, I don't believe we have.
Well, you are more than welcome to join me. I will just get Timothy to prepare a number of plates if you are interested.
Sounds good.
Certainly.
Yeah, he will pick up this bell that was sitting on the table and ring it, and Timothy will come shuffling into the room. Yes, my lord. Timothy, our guests will be joining us for dinner. Please prepare a meal for each of them. Any restrictions, dietary restrictions?
Preferably no meat.
He'll make a nod towards Timothy, and Timothy will nod. Is that for all of you, or just for
Oh,
Bisol?
I'm fine with me.
Yeah, I'm fine with meat too.
Excellent. Yeah. Timothy will leave the room. It'll take him a bit to prepare. Is there anything else I can help you with that you're wondering about? I see you found a ancient map of the world.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that. I was looking for stuff about, and
Hmm.
tower there. And I didn't see anything immediately. And I didn't see anything about the prison. And I was looking for stuff.
Oh, the prison.
Yeah, I don't know if it's related. I'm just.
It's a
My
terrible
mom's gone
place.
missing.
I was incarcerated there for 20 years of my life.
Really?
Yes.
Probably shouldn't ask, should I?
Well, I was innocent. Wrong place, wrong time. I was falsely accused of the murder of a group of people, but I did not do it. But
Is it really as scary as it sounds?
yeah, it seems to be telling the truth. He said, you asked, is it scary as it sounds? Oh yes, it's a dreadful place. I haven't been there in a long time, but I can't imagine the conditions improved. Maybe they have. I wouldn't want to find out.
Good point. Oh, yeah. There was one more thing. Do you happen to know who this person is? And I'll just show him the name that I wrote down.
The author name
Yeah.
for the God book, or
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. She looks at it, squints his brow. Nope. Sounds like some elvish person. Who is it?
He wrote one of the books that you have here.
Oh. Well, a lot of these books are older than me, so.
Yeah. Alright, well. Unless you've got anything else you want to look at, Olivia.
I'm gonna think to Chandra, am I forgetting something?
No, I just didn't know if anybody else had anything they wanted to look up before we left.
Oh,
No,
no,
I
I'm good.
got a wealth of information.
Yeah, we don't have to RP the whole dinner out. It's very good food that's brought, and you guys can enjoy the rest of the evening here if you want. But unless you have any other questions for him specifically, he doesn't.
Nope, just getting really annoyed with the fucking.
Jeez.
No, I don't have anything else off the top of my head.
Cat's throwing a temper tantrum.
Yeah. Before we close the evening out, actually, I believe, or maybe I guess we'll just say tomorrow will be the day you can talk to Urislaw or whatever, and get the details of what's going on.
See if he's found out anything.
So yeah, you guys can. Oh, you guys didn't really want to stay in Rachel, did you? Because, or is this just a certain tavern you're avoiding? You'll stay somewhere else, I guess.
Yeah, I think Steve, Bissy didn't want to stay in Rachel.
Everything okay?
Yeah, they're just like constantly fighting with each other for no random reason.
But yeah, the evening will arrive. And did you not want to stay in Rachel, or did you just want to avoid the certain tavern?
I would prefer not to stay in Rachel if we can avoid it.
Well, yeah, I guess I don't think you guys have any other business here, really.
No.
So you guys can, everyone can teleport you guys back if you guys want. And you can spend the evening in your new tavern, or new base of operations.
Sounds good.
The night will pass uneventfully, and this morning is when you can communicate with Urislaw to get an update on his mission.
No, one sec. Fuck this. Fucking.
As I search for an appropriate track, I guess I can just play this city now music. Because you're back in Aldebaran. And your manner of communicating with him was just busy scrying on him and messaging him, right? Or did you have set up anything different?
I thought we were just using that.
Okay.
I could be forgetting something though.
Yeah, so yeah, you can scry on him and message him. We'll make you roll for it just to avoid the annoyance, because you can do it eventually. He's going to voluntarily fail his save, obviously. And he'll let you know that he has uncovered that your mom is actually being held in Stormford Prison. She was moved there some time ago, and he lacks the skills necessary to infiltrate that place. But he has confirmed that she is definitely there, has been there for at least a week.
Does he say just a week, or like it's probably been longer than a week, but the only thing he can confirm is 1 week?
He is actually very specific. It's been exactly 1 week. He uncovered like the what do you call it, itinerary, or
so they likely moved her like right after we were there.
Seemingly seems to line up with that.
Oh, well, that's not good. And I imagine it's very hard to get in there. We might have things we can do ourselves. Are you in a safe place? Shall we come get you tomorrow?
Yes. If you can meet me at Chandra's old home, or a location you can easily teleport to, I can meet you there.
Did we give him where Chandra's old home is?
I couldn't remember. Basically, a location everyone would know well. That was the first one that I thought of. But yeah, if you didn't even mention that to him, then maybe he just says whatever location you want me to go to.
Yeah, I feel like the worry is Chandra's old home is compromised because we found the assassins in there.
Oh, yeah.
So probably like But that is like the safest place we could teleport to. Yeah, we'll have him. That's where we'll meet him. It's the only like place we know we can go back to that we can also tell him where it is.
Yeah, I mean, your plan is just to pop in and out, right? So, I mean, it would
Yeah.
have to be like an ambush or something.
Yep.
That would be.
I'm not putting it past this Assassin's Guild. They're good.
But yeah, so that if that is tomorrow, what are your plans for today, if any? We could
Well, in
just-
the morning, I'll be casting this in the morning from now since it's 24 hours.
Mass from divination. And you're expending this 200 gold diamond dust.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna buy some. Yep.
You place a mask. Cannot be removed.
Yeah, that's expensive.
No, I just got to get the what was it, blood something,
Blood money.
money,
Yeah.
and then I can restoration myself.
Basically, it works as like non-detection. Scrying attempts do not work unless the caster uses a caster level check. Okay. The DCs to learn about the wearer identify include. Oh, okay. Cool. You may have to remind me of this, but yeah, cool.
Well, until this,
Oh God! And the fact that the target is wearing the focus mask can't be hidden in any way from creatures that observe the target.
well, I'm gonna be invisible, so it doesn't matter.
It's just gonna be weird because now we're gonna start seeing a masked alluvial.
The biggest issue with this elf is finished. I don't want him just appearing and trying to murder me again.
Good point.
Yeah. So, any plans for the day, or do you want to just time skip to the next day?
Well, no, I mean we were getting back in the evening, so the morning when we oh no, because he reaches out to us in the morning,
Yeah.
so we could just pick him up that day.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can teleport in. He's there when you meet him. You can grab him and get out. No issues. And yeah, he'll let you know that he has acquired some information about the prison if you plan on going in there. If you want it.
Yeah, we could use it just in case we have to go with the worst outcome.
Okay, so he says, as I look at my notes, the prison is in the middle of the forest. You guys unroll like a map, and you'll point to your world map, which I guess you are on that map anyway. So yeah, he like points to that location, and he says, "Yes, so that is where it is. It is." It is similar to the architecture of the tower in Yuno. It is a great tower that stands there. However, the tower part, the part that goes above the ground level, is quarters for the soldiers that guard the place, and the actual prison is in a sub-level to the place. So if you go in, you'd have to go down. It is usually manned by a number of crossbowmen and archers on the top of the tower, and a handful of soldiers guarding. There's a small bridge that leads to the tower. Otherwise, you'd have to climb a mountain face that is almost 100 feet up from the ground. You could climb that and avoid crossing the bridge to it. But I believe you said you have the ear of the queen these days, so I'm...
We do indeed. That might give us a way to get in and ask some questions at least.
Indeed. I think a diplomatic entry is much more prudent. Fighting your way in seems dangerous and not... Well, I don't know how strong you guys are, but these are... my intel indicates that these soldiers are... I guess, how would someone communicate strength? They
I mean, usually you would use like people, right? They're like as big as.
Yeah, they are humanoid. In a matter of 6 seconds, I believe they could only swing their blades twice. So they're not the strongest of guards. I believe the...
But I'm assuming the prison has protections that will enhance them and keep them even more safe.
Yes, I believe the strength comes from there's a manner of traps and things they would employ if they were under attack until reinforcements would arrive or word is sent that they would need a stronger person there. I believe they keep 1 or 2 spellcasters on hand.
How do you think something would escape from there then?
That is a good question. It seems to be built very secure. If something were to escape, it must have been very powerful as well, or found some sort of weakness that I haven't been able to see. My information is quite limited, but...
I imagine it's probably something very hard. We have a source that we know did escape from there, but he's not the kind of person that you ask a lot of questions of without expectation of a lot of reciprocal action. And his reciprocation is not one that we're willing to engage with.
Well, I believe that is...
What did they say was the reason that she was transferred there? Did you find any information on that? This went from stealing a necklace, I thought, to suddenly sending, what kind of necklace was stolen?
I don't know anything about that. The document I found claims, I only saw it, I don't have it. I didn't want to risk taking it. But the document I saw was that she was included on a list of very dangerous, alleged dangerous, violent criminals that were being transferred over. And she was on that list of violent dangerous criminals.
Chandra, your mom, you didn't say anything about her being some sort of violent mercenary, right?
As far as I know.
If there's nothing else, I don't think I can help with this endeavor. It's a little too risky for me.
Oh, I would not put you up to this.
Before I set off, I did want to have a few moments of your time, Bissy, alone.
Yes.
If we could.
Certainly.
Yeah. Do you guys leave? Besides,
Yeah, I'll
private word.
I can go out with him down to the table,
sure.
and we can talk there.
So yeah, once you're alone, he'll kind of look around and say, I didn't want to mention this in front of Chandra since you mentioned it was her mother. But this prison, they're known for violent torture and interrogation methods. She's been there for at least a week. I would imagine these have been done to her. Even a small amount of time under these procedures, I'm told, changes a person. So just be aware. It's said you're never the same person going in as you are coming out of this place.
Do you know if we need permission to go there, or can our visitors allow?
That's a good question. I think normally, from what I gathered, there are no random visitations allowed, and you would only be given access via permission from the Queen. As well as if you had permission from the Queen, you could schedule a meeting for a visit, or if you had the noble assent from they signed some documentation, or perhaps if you forged one well enough that permitted you access.
That might be dangerous. If we're emissaries for the Queen, that could backfire on us tremendously.
Right. So the fact that you're emissaries, you maybe have enough standing to pull a random visit. I just know the commoner, everyday person would never get in without a schedule visit. But emissaries for the Queen of the Realm, I think that warrants access. I'm told there are some high-ranking people involved with the crown that do not need to schedule meetings. Of these people, I believe, on the list that I saw, that do not... If you can impersonate someone well, perhaps impersonating someone on this list will get you in as well. Unless they have means of detection. Sedani, Galore, Valu.
Why does Valu have access?
I know not the name, but... and there was one more name as I collect my notes. Fastenburg. They only had first names here, so unless you recognize any of these names.
I don't recognize Bastionburg.
Fastenburg.
Huh?
Let me write it out. And he writes out the name.
Not somebody I know. Fast and cold, huh?
Those were a list I found that in the documents, among the documents, that said that these people are given no questions asked access to any prisoner in the hold. And I did find out that they do employ, as I said, a manner of magical traps that are only activated upon they believe an attack on the building. So everything is usually deactivated unless they perceive a threat. Gesundheit. So if you're going in under diplomatic means, I believe you won't have to worry about passing any traps.
Most importantly, I'm glad you made it alive. We'll work quickly to make sure we get Chandra's mother secure. Do you need more work? Or...
Depending on the job, I'm a freelancer. I'm always looking to make coin.
How well do you think you would do at rooting out spies?
Rooting out spies. Let me check where his skill rank distribution is. Because I believe that would probably be a combination of sense, motive, and perception. I believe I can read a person quite well. However, I don't have any magical means of confirming such suspicions, but I can read someone as well as any, probably better than any, well, better than the average person. For someone in my trade, I'm not specialized in it, but I do have a very good read on people.
If we could provide you with means of being able to peer into the mind of others, would that be something that would aid you then, significantly?
Of course.
Where were you born? Were you born in Morocco?
That is a good question.
Yeah, I know he was an assassin, but I don't know if they're all born
Indeed,
there.
I was born in Morocco.
That makes this a bit more difficult. I don't know if I could give you the mind penetration, but what I'm curious about is I'd like to get ahead of things. There is some changes we're going to be making in Aldebaran, and I've run into some issues. I know perhaps you remember the issues that occurred with Lord Abbas.
Indeed.
I suppose you probably know quite well.
Yeah.
What we would like to get to the bottom of is there a conspiracy running amongst members of the Maldonian refugees? Someone like Lord Abbas being assassinated and numerous other people disappearing. Perhaps you could identify what is occurring, get us the details, and we could clean that up and bring more of the refugees onto our side by cleaning up any problems within the refugees.
Yes, I could do this. How much time do I have?
When is the next election?
The next election
We're not far, but it's not like...
So we are on the 6th of Dalek, and the election will be held. Where is that? On the 5th of Serial, so about 2 months away at this point.
Okay. So I'll say that by the start of Serial.
By the start of Serial. Yes, I think I can accomplish this.
All right, I am willing to pay you quite handsomely. We'll start with 1 ruby a day. And I want to give you compensation if you do find some people, but I also want to make sure you're not incentivized to pick people out that are. So we will evaluate case by case the nature of the problem, and there will be an additional benefit the deeper into a big problem that you have managed to infiltrate.
That sounds more than fair to me. I will likely live amongst them for some time and pose as a refugee to gather this intel and weed out any conspirators.
Excellent. I think you'll do very well. You seem to be quite good at evading us for quite some time.
Not good enough. But I doubt any of these spies are as strong as all of you.
Well, I'd also like to think Arfin had a better deal for you.
Yeah, let's shake on it, and he'll offer his hand out.
Yep, and I will detect the...
You detect no deceit.
Okay.
On the deal.
Then yeah, I will give him... I'll give him 5 of it up front.
Okay.
That way he has enough to find himself a place, get himself fed. And then each week he can meet back up with me, and I'll give him another week's worth.
Sounds good, yeah. He will deploy to do this.
All right.
Instead of wasting money on this diamond dust, can I just buy a wand of blood money? It's a first level spell.
Yeah.
It's on pretty much all the arcane casters spells.
You have UMD, right?
I do.
Okay,
I have
good.
ridiculous amounts.
I thought so.
It's like 26 or something.
Yeah.
23.
I learned the hard way from that last session that UMD is much, much harder than I thought it was.
Activating the wand is under 20 or something. It's like 15 plus spells.
Oh, that's right. Wands
wands are easy.
Yeah, that's right. They have like a static.
I thought it was a flat 20 to activate a wand.
Yep.
Oh.
It's
So
casting
I'm
a
over
scroll
20.
that's the hard one. Yeah.
So what's the blood money
Blood
cost for doing 200 GP? This is 1 point of strength.
1 point of strength and 1d6 life. And then you regrow the strength every day. So it's like having a perpetual -1 strength to have mask and divination on all day.
I see. 1 point of strength and 1d6 points of damage.
I can actually cast it from Alluvial because it's a touch spell. So I can touch Quablios.
Yeah,
cast
so I
it on
was
him.
reading it all. Okay, yeah. No issues with that. And you're not immune to strength damage, right? For any reason?
Nope.
Alright. Sounds...
Alluvial actually hit decent strength. He has like a 12 in strength.
Yeah, you can easily purchase that wand. I don't know if you know the cost off by hand, but I'll look it up.
There's
First level...
750 unless we get a discount.
Yeah, you get a 20% discount from your wizard dude.
Yep.
If you buy from him. Which I assume you would. So you can get a 20% off the 750 if you so wish. And yeah, you can have a wand with 50 charges that will do blood money for you. Yeah. What else do you guys have
It'll be
planned?
600 gold.
So I think I would ask Everon to message Galore.
Okay.
And see if Galore is willing to reach out to the Queen and get us the ability to get into Stormford Prison. So Galore, Chandra's mom, is in Stormford Prison. Need to reach her. Can you help?
Yeah, you will get, or Evron will get the message back that they are more than happy to look into it and see what's going on with that.
I think Everon would have another thing, but it would be like, would like to avoid torture during the time she's there until we speak to her.
You get a response back saying there is no torture that takes place at that prison.
They're not going to just admit to torture. They're not going to admit to torture.
Governments.
We'll try our best not to torture.
Yeah, the problem is
person,
Bissy just
know?
believes. Bissy's just confused. Bissy would come back and be like, "They say it as a torture," but he would like ask this to. He would ask this. Well, I guess no, because Bissy doesn't want to say anything about the potential for Chandra's mom getting tortured to Chandra.
Not nearly as funny.
But all right, well. So we'll have to, I guess we just wait for him to get back to us when we can get into there.
Yeah, so how long do you guys want to wait for a response on that, or do you have guys any plans in the meantime while you're waiting for that?
I would give it 2 days, but I want to meet with the alchemists as well.
I do want to talk to Bissy about his plan for my death match that he's supposedly setting up. What's the plan there?
Oh yeah, we kind of skipped over that. You were supposed to talk the details with the emissary, weren't you?
Yes.
So we can just kind of rewind time and figure that out. So there is, so let's figure that out because that's important. So this emissary elf named, so I check my notes. She introduces herself as Elioth Lithior. She is wearing...
Is all elven names sound the same?
Yeah, I can put the name in the chat if you guys need it. Or
no, it's fine. It doesn't look familiar. Or it doesn't sound familiar. I was just looking at my list of names.
She is...
Wait, Lithor, not Lithar, right?
Lithor. Lithaur.
Oh man, that's so close to Galore's last name.
Is it?
Galore's last name is Lithar.
No relation. And he's human.
Oh yeah.
Well, maybe he has elven heritage, who knows. But yeah, they're not related. But yeah, she's just wearing this. Her hair is kind of like she's not wearing like a crown or whatever you want to call it, like not a veil, a diadem. But she's not wearing one. But her hair is like weaved into one almost, like her hairstyle. She has like very long hair. She's wearing these like white, silver robes that are very flattering to her. She's about like 6'3", very tall. Or I mean, standard for an elf maybe. But yeah, other than that, nothing super unique about her. But she does have this small stone kind of office that's been hastily constructed. And you guys are meeting her in Rachel. And she has, I don't know if you're all here for this, but yeah, there are chairs about and a desk that she can sit across from. And you guys she welcomes you as you walk in. And she says, "Hi, I assume you're here to discuss the particulars of a trial by combat, as it were.
We are looking to discuss a fair deal, as it would be.
And sorry, is everyone else there?
I would have brought everybody along. I don't see any reason that it would just be me.
Yeah.
Excellent. And who is the accused? She looks across at all three of you.
That would be Alluvial here.
Actually,
Okay, if you're not there, that's fine.
No, I'm there. I'm looking around for anybody invisible or waiting to like shoot me from the shadows. Any cracks in the room, so that when I identify myself, I'm shot to death with murder arrows.
Yeah, you perception and you have your detect magic up and all that, and you can see that she's decked with magic, like head to toe, but no invisible or other auras in the room.
That would be me.
Ah, I see. Well, I'm glad the accused is here to discuss the particulars as well.
I have some strange customs.
Yes. It is a ancient rule that was invoked upon this transgression.
Oh, where you can betray people and then try to kill them for defending themselves? That's an ancient
You were
tradition.
betrayed?
Yes. We were given a task, and when we attempted to complete it, they butted in, purposely stopped us from completing the task so that they could complete it themselves, and then progressively increased tensions and aggressions until something eventually happened, because, as it would in those type of situations. We were all on foreign soil. I can't see any other outcome than what actually did happen.
Well, I'm not briefed on... I wasn't told about those particulars of the situation.
I bet.
But the Elven King has ruled that this is a justified trial by combat.
Oh, sure.
So I am just here to facilitate the particulars, as your queen has barred my kin from seeking you out and fighting you without proper process and adequate preparation. So we are acquiescing her request.
You grace us with your elegance and your beauty here, and your ages of wisdom that bring you a unparalleled understanding of a great deal of things.
Is
So
Usaba
it
being
seems-
sarcastic at all? with
No,
this?
he is
Okay.
saying he is in full
Okay.
diplomat mode.
All right.
It is then strange to me that your customs invoke such a barbaric act that lacks all civility and spits in the face of everything your culture seems to despise about humanity and their ways. These things seem quite dramatic in their parallels.
She kind of looks very impressed with you, Bisaba, and she kind of leans back in her chair and says, I was forewarned of your silver tongue, Bisaba. You speak well and flatter me. However, this, as I mentioned, is an ancient rule of our people, as we are not so benevolent that we have overcome emotion. And I believe the individual that Alluvial has angered is quite emotional on the matter. And I do agree that combat in this regard is barbaric and beneath us, but it is a right afforded to our people to seek this if they wish, and it being an ancient rule of our people, it has not been utilized by many, but is still a valid form of recompense for the transgression that occurred.
It is very... Sorry.
No, I was done.
It is a very unusual thing, though. I understand that many things in Elven culture take a great deal of time to change or mold into a new form, but I do not understand why such a law that could potentially bring down the entire Elven society would be allowed to remain in such an established position. I I imagine that there are some of the most mundane of transgressions that could occur amongst elves, resulting in them wishing to fight others. But these actions taken so emotionally can ultimately result in acts that appear very antagonistic to entire countries, especially if they were to be taken against ambassadors of one.
This is why the ancient rule was amended some time ago to require royal assent, so the elven nobility or elven royalty must agree with the decision being carried out of. The fact that you are all emissaries perhaps may have been overlooked. Is Alluvial? I thought Bisaba, perhaps you are the only official emissary. Are all of you actually official emissaries of the Queen?
The Phoenix was chosen as the emissary. I was to understand, but perhaps I misunderstood the. I was going to say allocation. That's not the word I'm looking for. Perhaps I misunderstood the who was chosen as the recipient. But we all speak before the Queen, not just myself.
Yes, I believe we were told that Alluvial was a late addition to your group, and perhaps was not inducted into such royalties, but...
As she's saying that, I'm drawing something out of my pocket very slowly and carefully. I draw out the Phoenix Pact parchment that we have, and I display it to her that it has not only mine, but a number of signatures upon it. This is my organization. These are the people who aid me and have agreed and are bound by the conditions of this. As you can see, Alluvial's name has not been removed or crossed out in any way, which means he did not violate these very stringent terms, which we worked hard to make sure we had proper wording on. He did not act in a manner which would put into question our personal goals and interests and the interests of our kingdom.
Well, be it as it may, both my king and your queen have agreed that this is a lawful trial by combat to occur.
Do you have any paperwork showing the actual rules for this trial by combat?
You mean our elven rule laws?
Yes.
There's they don't have papers. There's one guy who passes it on, and their whole life is learning all of the laws, and then they pass it on to the next person. You just got to kill that guy.
Yeah, there you go.
We do have these codified in our elven texts.
I'm gonna hold out my hand.
Of course, these are ancient texts in the homeland, and I do not know why you need to see them. If the king has sanctioned it and your queen has agreed, there's not much more to go into.
So you want me to enter into mortal combat without any proof that such a thing even exists, other than your word, which I'm sure is very trusted among your circles.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but did your queen not already agree to this? Why are you implying that you haven't? Well, that's what we're here for. There are no rules, but we've agreed to mandate some in this case.
I think that what part of what we're trying to imply here is, and what I'm trying to imply is, I know that we cannot overturn alluvial sentence, but it does seem risky to have a rule on the book that does not allow for proper boundaries within the system. And I would like for this to not be something that is inadvertently inflicted upon someone else further down the road and creates more complications. I would like to see there be something more permanently codified if this is a thing your culture wishes to continue to allowed.
There have to be some rules. Like,
I can get a
you
copy.
can't flee from the combat. That would have to be in the rules, or a
No,
powerful
there's-
mage would just keep teleporting away every time they saw the
If
other
you
person.
flee, you admit fault, and you will be hunted until you are dead.
So there are rules then. Or did you
Implicitly,
just make
not.
that up to make it seem good?
It is how you say the sense of the people,
Right.
the
but
sense
we're
of the
from different-
reading.
We're from different cultures. So from your point of view, casting a spell that doesn't cause any harm or do anything is a death sentence. And I get that. But also, leaving the fight is a death sentence. How would I possibly know that? That's why I was asking for the rules. I was assuming if you came here to talk about the combat, you would have the paperwork saying what the combat.
I was under the impression we were here discussing the rules of engagement, but if this is a point of contention, I can have a scribe send me an exact wording of our text regarding this matter.
Some of that may be of use to us, but we should discuss the terms of what we're going to conduct as well. What I believe Alluvial is concerned with is any sort of loophole that might be taken advantage of during the situation in your legal system that might allow for the other person to make some claim or do some sort of action that suddenly transforms the encounter, and the final blow being delivered by Alluvial results in some sort of continued, ongoing blood feud.
There's no way for me to know what I
familial
can and
lineage.
can't do, which could lead to another death feud, because the whole thing is ridiculous. From anybody else's point of view, it doesn't make sense.
Perhaps let's say this hunter decides that he is going to surrender and apologize at the very moment a spell is flying towards him from Alluvial. He acknowledges that he was wrong and should not have taken this action. The shot ends him in that moment, Alluvial being unable to stop it, and now his child is given the same rights and privileges because the hunter had killed the hunter.
Right. I don't want to have to massacre an entire family.
I like that your presumption is that you would be the one able to do such a thing, but in general, if there was no agreement between our kingdoms on this matter, or we are discussing and creating rules for engagement, the elven people are honorable people and would announce their challenge to you and would declare to fight you in open combat.
So honorable. Like you bait somebody into a fight, then you
Alluvial,
pay
please.
somebody for a job.
Please, Alluvial. We are diplomats here. We need
Honor.
calm.
They hired us.
We must be
betrayed us,
calm here.
and now
I
they
don't
wanna fight
disagree
to the
with
death.
your
Are you
statements.
kidding me?
I don't
Right.
disagree with your statements, but we will not overturn this, unfortunately, with words.
Well, I'm not trying to overturn it. I'm just saying choose words that fit the situation.
Your comments are valid, and in short-sightedness appear dishonorable, but given the full extent that this person had done some research on you, and that you are quite the crafty individual.
Oh, what exactly, pray tell, did he find? Because my party also did their research when I joined and found nothing. And they did it several times, extensively.
I don't have the particulars, but I am told that you were
I
a
didn't think so.
scrupulous individual, and that you were to be
If you
met.
were trying to paint somebody as a villain, you would say something like that. I'm not trying to talk my way out of it. You're forcing me to kill one of your people. I'll do it if that's what you want. My thing is, I need to know the rules that are set.
There
So
are
that
no
I don't have to
rules.
kill more and more people.
There are literally.
It has to end at
There
something.
was no rules. It was
But you
kill
just
or
said
be
you can't
killed.
flee.
You
So-
can flee, but then you are admitting you have done wrong. So
Right,
you will
but
not fight.
you made it seem as though the elven people are hunting you forever, not this one individual.
no,
So if
he
you-
would seek to find you, and
Oh, okay.
You could
well,
run
I
if
wouldn't
you
flee
want.
anyway. I'm assuming like once we get going, he'll.
if
be
you
the
are a
one to
coward,
run
you
away.
can flee as much as you like.
As I just said, I'm assuming he'll be the one fleeing, and
I
I
doubt
don't
it.
want him.
Well,
Our people
let
do
us.
not
Actually,
flee.
we should set that as one of the rules. One of the rules is the fight is to the death.
Well, it theoretically
That is an
should be.
agreement. That is
And
intended. Yes,
you-
I agree to that rule.
If you flee, then
She waves a
You're-
hand and chants a few words, and this parchment unrolls from a bag on the floor, and a scroll, or not a scroll, a quill starts like penning down these rules. So the first rule, fight to the death, is written.
I would say that if you got, I gesture toward Bissy. If you agree that if you flee, you will find no ground for salvation, and your country and the other country have the right to hunt you down.
And that and I believe this is fair, considering the Alluvial's background and who this ultimately affects. That the soul of those who fall, of the one who falls, should belong rightfully to the judgment of Forno.
Oh, hold on. Let's tackle one at a time. So you said fleeing will result in being an enemy of the opposing kingdom?
Both kingdoms.
Both kingdoms. I think we can agree to that. And the quill repeats it as you stated.
Any equipment, gear brought to the fight?
Well, hold on. Bissy brought up this soul matter.
Okay.
I do not believe we can legislate the gods into doing what we want. I believe when they die, the souls will be claimed by whichever deity wants them.
I believe we can. The soul can be compelled to make a choice in its death. Could it not? If the option permitted itself.
How would you know? How would we be able to enforce such a thing?
If the person signs, the gods will see the sign. The signature of is involved as well. Correct. The gods will bear witness.
How badly do you want this rule? I do not want to force one of my kind to sign something that their soul goes to a deity. As particularly, I believe we are mostly believing in Kala. I would imagine he would like his soul to return to the cycle and not be at the hands of Forno.
On the point of signing into things that you don't want to sign into, what is the reach of this agreement by the Elven lands? Like, is this a thing like if you're in Elven territory, these like laws apply, or is it like just anywhere if you fight? If
you mean this agreement we're drafting right now?
No, the unwritten rules of the.
They are written.
Elven. Well, they're not written in our country, so we have no access to them. So like,
true.
So we don't know if they're written.
Right. The law we broke on foreign soil against an individual who
but not in Elven
was
territory.
breaking a rule against our country.
Because it'd be good to know if we're like committing an act against another country unknowingly without any way to find this information out.
She kind of crosses her arms and sits back and looks at you, Chandra, and says, "Yes, technically your offense was committed on foreign soil, but you were under the employ of the elves and in our service.
That would give us diplomatic immunity, would it not? As diplomats,
it would
on
subject
behalf,
you to
vetted
our
in the
rules.
customs.
Well, Bissy, whenever you're working for somebody from a different country, you automatically, spontaneously know all of their laws.
Had this been a minor infraction, it would be overlooked. But you commandeered one of our own's mines. Their will
That is
was
a stretch. Commandeered.
Their will was not their own.
I didn't force them to do anything. In order to commandeer something, you have to forcefully take control. To take control would have been to use him to some end, which I did not do.
But you could
Until he said he was coming to kill me, in which case, yes.
Oh, so then you did exert your control.
Yes, after he said, please exert influence over me, I exerted influence over him. Yeah. I don't regret it, and I would do it again.
That is your right, as it is our right to seek you out and challenge you.
The equipment that he brings to the fight should go to me after I kill him.
Yes, there's no rules that stipulate what happens to the wearer's belongings. So if you want to add one, if he is to kill you, your companions are not entitled to any of your items. She waves a hand, or if you say something, she'll stop.
I gesture a Bissy and
I would like to. That is fine. I have no problem with that. I have a different request. I want to go back to my previous request.
All right, yeah. So she'll wave the hand and they'll roll. Winner has claim over the dead's items, belongings.
The items belonging to the dead is how that should rightfully be worded. There are items which Alluvial has which are not his, and it would be important for them to go back where they belong.
Now
He is
he's going to
present.
say all of his gear isn't his, it was on loan.
She
no,
I don't want to say
raises
that
an eyebrow and
Olivia
says,
that out loud.
anything used in the duel on their person will belong to the other person. You will have no claim to his residence in the Elven land, and he'll have no claim to your properties or existential items that you have.
Very well.
Any items used in the duel are considered yours, and the winner's prize for winning as well.
And would it be too much to ask for us to and get a copy as a
Of this document?
and in the for our kingdom to get a copy made at some point in the future of the Elven dictates or rules or something, so that we can better educate ourselves on this?
No. For you specifically, I will give you the copy of this law that you broke.
Wait,
Don't
But
worry,
more people can blindly fall into them, and then they can hunt them. Because that's sophisticated.
When we're done, we can just make sure that everyone in Aldebaran knows the elves are not people that wish to do trade deals, because
Well-
we can't take chances in trading with people who are unwilling to share with us their laws so that we can know how to properly engage with them. You understand this is where the problems come from. If we are not aware, we cannot do things properly. And I would like to alleviate this for the future.
I do have another question. Does he have to, at any point in time, like would he have had to, had Alluvial not told him to come, like would he have had to have announced to him that he was coming to hunt him down at any point?
She kind of sighs heavily. Our people, she looks at Bisaba, have interacted with yours for centuries. We have had minor, if not no issues. This is the first major conflict that has arisen between our peoples in some time. This is why
These
the
are honorable
elves...
people who set people up to be murdered in the street
There
and
was
then
no
shoot like
setup.
cowards from the bushes. These are honorable people.
They weren't a part of our mission. They
Honor,
were sent there
honor, using invisibility purchased or given by
These
his
are...
comrades.
I would not
to
dishonor
attack
you and not call you honorable, and these are many tactics you employ, if I'm not mistaken.
Which tactic?
Invisibility...
Talk as if you follow me. I do use invisibility to avoid
Does that make you
conflict.
a coward?
I don't attack people when I'm invisible.
You have never made an aggressive maneuver while under the guise of invisibility?
That's a poor question. You should prove that I did if you want your answer. Give me an example of the time that I did. I know you can't. You're just trying to get information from me and assuming.
I find it highly unlikely that you have been such an honorable person that you've never...
I never claimed honor. You did. You said the elves are so honorable.
Yes.
And now I'm pointing out that they are not. Cowardly attacking people from greater invisibility in the bushes. That is not honor. So don't pretend it is.
So they
Use
don't have
words
to announce
as
it
they
ahead of
mean.
time that
It's
they're
all
coming
that
to
I-
hunt somebody down?
Chandra, Alluvial. We need this to go well.
I don't want to intentionally be hunted down. If I'm being hunted
We're
down, I
not
wanna
going
know.
to, because we're not going to engage with the elves.
I don't know if I did
We
anything
need
to the elves.
nothing more from the Elven Kingdom once this is over.
What if shaking a boat is against Elven rules?
It doesn't matter. We're not going to do anything with them, so we don't have to
hunted
care.
down by them without knowing it.
She kind of rubs her temple. This is why we have left your lands.
For the betterment of everyone, I'm sure.
Indeed. So,
Listen.
do we have more rules to write on this document?
No, hold on. A very important thing that I want to clarify with you, with your statement there, that seemed admittedly as bad as some of the statements my companions have made. It is important in diplomatic exchanges for both parties to be aware of the customs of each culture. I think it would be important and very reasonable for there to be some exchange of information about these customs and these rules.
I've
Over
agreed to
time-
this already.
No. Not just for us, but for our peoples.
This is dangerous for us.
You worry that people will exploit your laws?
Indeed.
You could just as easily exploit ours. The goal is exchange. This is how diplomacy works. Diplomacy works is we give you some access to our borders, you give us some access to yours. We give you some access to our knowledge, you give us some access to yours. But we do a very careful dance so that neither one of us trips over the other and then stabs the other in the fall without stabbing the other as well.
I can bring this request before the king, but not ever in our history has our texts been revealed to humanity.
I would say that is a more than gracious response to their request.
Or at least copy down the rules that could get people killed and give those out. I'm just saying.
Anyway,
So as far as place or location,
I believe I have a good place for a location. I saw it before when I was looking upon the actions of the Maldonian adventurers. In Geffen, there is a wizard's arena that we may be able to use for this. It should have accurate ways of people starting a combat, making sure that people are on even footing before attacking each other.
what is the layout?
It is a wide open space,
Perfect for an archer.
or a spellcaster with long-range spells. But there are ways that you prep before coming in. Each of you could have time to prep before being entered into the arena.
Well, let's settle on the location first before we talk about preparations. I do enjoy a somewhat neutral location, neither in the Elven lands, neither in Argarthia. Perhaps this wizard arena in Geffen, and perhaps they can verify, being a neutral party, that it is all above board and no traps or anything for either party. I like the sound of that.
Good.
Don't like
We
the
are
sound
on
of a
good
wide
terms with the
open
regent. They
field.
should be willing to.
The particulars of the arena, I believe there's a standard protocol to make it as fair for the different types of combatants. In my time, I've seen each party starting behind closed walls, and doors would open up and be led into...
If I kill him in a wide open field, that would be all the more embarrassing. Yeah, I like this place.
Well, it is
I'll
not.
agree to that.
It is not as Bisaba described. Well, if you want a big open field, it's up to you. But typically, when two different combatants of different persuasions interact, I believe the typical format is both parties would start in a enclosed room, and the door would open, and you would be let out, and you would encounter almost maze-like corridors that would open up into a main open area. So you could choose you could fight in a closed space, or you could try to go to the middle to meet your adversary, or stalk each other into the corridors. It basically lets it play out in almost of a fair situation for no matter what kind of thing you are. If you agree to that format, or if you just wanted a bare open stadium, I'm sure that is no issue for the type of fighter the elf is.
I'm fine with the weird maze-like thing.
Very well. She will wave a hand and it'll pen in just like the standard stuff.
Unknown.
Oh, sorry, I froze for like 10 seconds. Sorry.
No, I'm saying it should go without saying, but I also want to add in no outside help.
Yes, I believe Bisaba was getting there for allowable preparations. So
I mean other people.
Oh, of course, this is a individual.
You would think, right? But you would also think not hurting somebody wouldn't lead to them trying to hunt you down and kill you.
One concern that we have is the wealth of the Elven Empire is quite impressive, and it is potentially possible that sponsees may show up, or sponsors may show up to aid this elf in combat. It would be a very unrealistic thing for Alluvial to walk into there with our minor income comparatively, and be immediately obliterated by simply being wished out of existence.
I agree. It was actually a similar worry on our end that we have heard of your economic prosperity in Aldebaran, and we were concerned that you may fund Alluvial beyond his means, and we are willing, if you will disclose the amount of wealth that you will have on your person, we will...
Alluvial gets the biggest grant.
We will, of course...
None.
There
No
will be
wealth.
some compensation for you having be able to cast...
We both fight with no money. With nothing of any value.
Unfortunately, he requires some wealth to
Why is
achieve
that?
a fraction.
Because he's weaker. Oh.
I'm going to start patting the back of my head softly.
Oh.
Veggie Pygmy, or
No,
Oh.
I'm tapping.
Mental.
I'm tapping to like see if he'll like, and then I'll like scratch my head a little bit. But I'm trying
I'll
to get
take
Alluvial
the
to.
Like, yes.
You need that ring.
Oh.
That if he's willing to make a blood oath, I believe
has-
that is more than acceptable offering to.
The ring
Forno.
has no actual value. It doesn't even show up as magical, does it? It's an
I thought
artifact.
it did. I thought it showed up as very powerful.
it
Magic.
would definitely show up as magical. But yeah, it's like I think if you go in magic items, there's like an artifact section, so they are magic items. I think. Let me double check.
But it has no value. So.
Well, I mean, you can try to assign some value based on what it does. So we could.
Oh,
put
well,
a
no,
value.
it definitely has a value, but
Oh, you mean
they
in
wouldn't have a
character?
way-
Yeah, they wouldn't
They
have
would
a way
no
to.
way
Yeah.
to assign a value to it.
Well,
And he can't really remove it, right? It's irremovable from his finger.
true.
So we need to explain this then. Like,
Well, if you disclose what it can do, they could
I would-
try to price it out.
we
but I don't
can-
know.
cannot disclose exactly what it can
do
do.
that.
But the best way we can explain is that during the combat, there is an item that we need to disclose. In the nature of how we were given it, we are not allowed to explain it. Unfortunately, it would break a vow between us and the gods.
So
This-
Alluvial possesses an artifact of the gods that he wields and will utilize in this combat?
No. That is what I am getting to. Alluvial will refrain from usage of the ring during the combat.
Refrain
in fact,
or will not use it all during the combat?
I would not use it at all.
Alluvial cannot use it during the combat.
Yeah, it
Its
doesn't
function,
work.
it does not allow for activity during combat.
Okay. If you are willing to... I mean, we are going to
I will
codify
stake
this.
my personal life on the statement that this ring is not usable so long as the other man lives.
Yes, we are going to codify this entire agreement in front of particularly Arfin to make sure it is everyone was acting in good faith. And she waves a hand and will pen in the specific rule. Alluvial is not permitted to utilize this ring during the combat or whatever.
Otherwise, I would say it is a more reasonable thing if we have people that are not decked out in large amounts of wealth. If
So we need a gold value. How much gold does he need in order to be able to stand across from me and try to fight me?
This is a tough question because what value would you put on having access to your most powerful spells?
0. I was born with them. That's a ridiculous question.
So if you place no value on them, you would not utilize them to win?
They are literally part of my... Is he going to use his arms in the fight? They are part of my body, part of my being. They have no value.
Alluvial, do not be obtuse with me. You know
Okay,
there's
I
a
hear
difference
what you're
between...
saying, but you
What
sound
if-
ridiculous. He
You
is
sound
muscular.
ridiculous.
He is muscular.
There
strong,
are
and
spells that
has-
can be weaved to
He is
change the
muscular,
fabric
he is
of
strong.
reality.
And he is fast. He can fire 7 or 8 arrows at a time. I've seen it. He actually shot me once.
Yes, and there are spells that literally change reality.
What if we do this? What if we allow for this?
Mm-hmm.
We allow like, we basically take the spell circles. We add up an amount of the spell circles, and we equate that to some equivalent number of arrows that he is allowed. Each.
Why not make it much more simple? Why don't I believe wizards have a very predetermined cost to acquire their spells. Why don't you tally up your spells as if you were a wizard and you had to acquire them in your spell book?
No, that's ridiculous.
What do you mean, no?
This entire line of money equivalating magic is ridiculous. You can put no price on spells, so then he has infinite wealth.
No, that's why I'm attempting to put a limit on it.
Each different spell could do different things. For instance, Mage Hand could be useless in some situations and have infinite value.
I'm trying to simplify it where every circle of spell will be given a predetermined value. You will multiply that value by the spell, or by the circle, and you will come out with a cost.
Why would I ever agree to that? You want me to agree that this...
Or you come up with some agreeable amount of wealth he can utilize, because...
Zero.
Tap the back of my head again.
I'll think to Missy, like, this is insane.
I know from Everon that spells are actually cheap to put into spell books. Even if you agree to this, you can pick a reasonably low amount of money, and he will have basically a bow that doesn't even have magical arrows.
I'm gonna think back to Missy. It's the idea of it. The idea is ridiculous. He wants to use his natural talents and skills against me using my natural talents and skills. And also have money because he's less talented and less skilled. Does that make sense?
He is reliant, though, on his equipment. You are not reliant on your equipment.
He chose this.
He didn't choose to be reliant on his equipment.
He chose to come and fight. He should fight under the same rules. How would Arfin see it? How would Arfin see it? And a fair deal would be two people fighting against each other.
Fire seeds, alluvial fire seeds. Okay.
I have no intention of using any of the skills I've ever used in any interaction that he's been in.
Alluvial, you could die and still kill him, okay?
I don't plan to die.
And I imagine Forno would still bring you back.
I doubt it. But either way, that's like saying, how much is your music worth, Missy? You sing really well.
So, I don't know how fast telepathy is, but there would be some silence, so she would say...
Yeah, no, I figured it is getting awkward, like we're just thinking back and forth to each other.
To make this simple, and not going through complications, let us agree on an amount of wealth that is allotted to him to utilize that would be equivalent to you being able to sling your strongest spells that he cannot. I've been told by some researchers that around your skill level, an individual would have around, accumulated on average, 140,000 gold worth of equipment. Does this seem like a fair price that he could utilize?
That level of gear is substantially more beneficial to him than it is to us. I believe you would understand that to be true.
So let's negotiate here. You think 140 is too high? What seems like a reasonable level to you?
Zero.
We will not do zero.
Must be reasonable here.
You're forcing me into a fight. I can't say no. I get no compensation for it. And
you get the higher wealth you give him, the more wealth that you claim if you can kill him.
This is so much math. Is there any way we can do this without fighting? Does it have to be a fight to the death?
Let's assign this. You wish to assess a wealth level based on alluvial skills, but alluvial spells. But I will point out to you that each of us learns things differently. For example,
what is the value of quick shot?
I pay nothing for my
multi-shot.
They don't understand those terms. But
I'm getting there. Like, what's the value of these things?
I'm getting there. Hang on.
Oh, get the fuck out of here.
His ability to cast spells is tantamount to your archer's ability to draw a bow back and shoot 2 arrows simultaneously, or 3 or 4 simultaneously.
Or 7.
I disagree.
The time it takes me to cast one spell.
There are spells that exist that one weaving of your hand you can nullify his.
And I personally know an
Shove.
archer that could kill all 5 of us in this room with a single draw and release of his arrows.
I have a question. Is it law that it has to be resolved in combat and only combat, or is there any other way to resolve this? Because I don't like having to talk about math.
What about a poison drinking competition?
She
Or
chuckles.
we could just...
She says, "You know what? You're right. There is one other one that I completely forgot about. There is a battle of intelligence. If you want to do the 100 question trivia of elven history, you can clearly tell she's like joking. You may choose that option instead."
And I can use my magic? So, I'll just read his mind and answer before he answers the same thing that he'll answer.
Oh, so you're saying your magic trumps someone's natural ability to do things? Interesting.
No, you're using a ridiculous example, so I did the same.
Oh, that
see.
wasn't serious.
Hold on. My point stands very valid here. There is a man who has the ability to draw 2 arrows simultaneously. In less than 6 seconds, he could kill every one of us in this room without a spell ever cast upon him, without an action ever being taken against him. We would all be dead.
There are the cases
Man may be
where
able to do the
I
same.
must not be in the same
there are
room.
individuals that if they get the drop on you would win for sure. We're talking about predetermined combat where both sides are preparing and aware of their opponent. And we need to make this as fair as possible.
I would
So
agree,
in-
but a person's skill set may be able to do that as well. If, for example, your man has excessive levels of stealth, he may be able to slip up on Alluvial without Alluvial knowing. And Alluvial would be just as quickly executed as it would be if Alluvial cast the most powerful spell he knew that could somehow transcend walls and other barriers and boundaries to get to your man.
I
His arrows
agree.
literally flew through the walls last time and through the ground.
I agree. These are things that exist and are equally powerful in their own respects. That is why I'm trying to come up with a balance. Whereas
Correct.
you are Alluvial, you are saying he is to be given 0 wealth, come in with no weaponry that he relies on to
No, I
utilize
said-
his skill
I
set.
said you said we would both come in with X amount of gold worth of item.
Yes,
I can fight with none.
that is
So
your
apparently
choice. I'm
he
sure.
needs to fight with some. So
I'm
You know
sure
what
that
is?
that magic items exist to enhance yourself for that price tag.
What is his best bow?
I don't think I can reveal his particulars, but if you're talking about a price tag,
In terms of monetary value, what is his most powerful bow?
she thinks for a moment. His bow is actually not that expensive. I mean, depending on what we decide here, he may alter his gear within the allowable amount to deal with an opponent. But his current bow is a mere under 3,000 gold pieces to craft.
And how many clutches of arrows do you think he would need to? Do you think he would believe he needs to take down Alluvial?
If he plans on using those special arrows that he tried to utilize against the tricky Alluvial, that would cost to craft. Let's say it's that.
are they gonna have time to craft?
It would cost
He might already
maybe
have.
15,000 gold to craft all the arrows he needs.
And these are the arrows that shoot through walls, that basically fundamentally break the very thing we're trying not to break.
Yeah, they'd probably shoot through the maze.
These are one of the most expensive options if he wants to utilize them.
I would say this: we allow him the wealth of his bow and enough money to buy arrows that might help him in taking Alluvial down. Perhaps we allot, say, 8,000 gold, enough for a bow and a couple of clutches of magical arrows.
And yourself, Alluvial, would everything on your person would be worth 8,000 in total or less?
I could do that, yeah. It's no problem for me.
Yes, you seem so eager to agree to this. I just do not see it fair where you are adventurers. You know that weaving spells requires little gold to make impressive, whereas a fighter needs little items here and there to help where they lack in these regards.
Maybe he
Why do we
should
have
quit.
to do combat? This is so much more effort than combat should be.
The issue, though, is that Alluvial does not have access to spells which transcend time and space. But with wealth, however, your ally can easily transcend the spatial part of that.
He already proved that he could.
With wealth, you can overcome the power of spells.
Of course, that is why I want to put a limit on it, or else you would be ridiculous.
That is why I offered. 8,000 gold seems
That is much too little for a combat of this skill level.
Did we ever get compensated for the job that we did for them?
No, that's why they betrayed us in the first place, so they could keep the money.
Oh. So, can we
The
have
lowest-
the money for the job that we did?
You performed that action for coin. I believe you did
I
it
don't
out of the
remember what we
good.
did it for. We did it for
Do
the
not
elves.
believe
I
there
don't-
was coin promised.
I don't want anything from the elves except for this to be resolved.
Same here. And since we haven't
Good.
been compensated,
Then we can continue
we
on
just-
with what we need to and not arguing over coin
Well,
that we agreed when we
I-
teleported off of that boat we weren't going to concern ourselves with.
I didn't want the coin. I wanted to agree to end this because we finished that job for them with no payment, and now we're in this ridiculous situation. Ridiculous in the sense that this is taking too long, and I don't like all this math that's going into this combat. And it's.
I agree. This is.
Is there any way we could just call it even?
I believe we're long past that. I
Then
believe
we
the most
finish it.
reasonable price I
Then
can
we're
come
still
down to
owed
is
something
50,000.
then for. We're still owed something for what we did then, right? We finished our mission.
50,000. If I'm going to allow a number like 50,000, then there need to be certain things stricken from the table.
I can agree to that.
Oh no, we're not getting our stuff done.
What was it that you were promised before you
I don't
embarked?
remember, honestly.
If you do not remember, I do not think it was that important to you.
Well, the mission was certainly important to the elves, and
It
we did
was.
that.
And whatever you were promised, you should be given. What were you promised to upon completion?
Not to be killed. That's not true. I know you can tell that that's not
Chandra,
true, but
please.
That was actually pretty funny, though.
If you
Yeah,
don't
sure.
want to
Don't believe
partake,
that.
if you don't want to partake in the discussions about math, then simply leave the room.
I just want this to be resolved without having to kill each other.
Well, that's unfortunately not something we can happen because the elves do choose a barbaric nature to resolve these things.
So, in all
A nature that
seriousness,
they would literally speak ill of the orcs for doing.
in all seriousness, though, there is no genuine way to end this without combat.
You see her like raise an eyebrow when you mention comparing them to orcs.
Is that not true? Would you not speak ill of orcs for their own decisions in many orcish societies? Trial by combat is the standard, the gold standard for deciding complications. I believe even the goblinoids do the same thing. They believe that might makes right, if I'm not mistaken. That is what this leads to. It is a might makes right position. That is why I'm so confused as to why this comes from the Elven lands, and why I think that for the future, it should be stricken from Elven code. It does nothing well for your culture. And we, as barbaric often as our species are, even the gnomes, as annoying as it is to constantly be dealing with the tricks that your parents play on you because they think they're being funny,
I'm gonna look over at him as he's saying this while he starts revealing things about his past.
I think that this comes as such a tremendous surprise coming out of the Elven kingdoms, and one which I think your culture could do best without. I know it does not solve this now, but I am worried for the lives of others, as I am often inclined to be. But I digress. This must be solved. Our current issue must be solved first. Then we can talk issues of greater diplomacy and greater trust. Yes? And I'm going to look to the two of them as well.
I do agree that this matter is beneath how far we've come. But your comparisons are not direct, whereas the orcs would do this over every little thing. We have this as the utmost. It is not taken lightly that we do this.
But it is also not an effective way to determine who actually did the wrong. When I encountered Jorman coming here with this request, my offering was meet with our queen.
Give me a
And
diplomacy check.
discuss. Yes.
Ooh.
Nice. Natural 19. There is another option. But I did not bother bringing it up because I do not think you will do this. But if you do really want to change things, you do have the right to appear before the elves and have an actual trial. Now, the jury would be made up of elves, and they are sworn to be impartial, but I don't know how you would... She looks at Alluvial's face, already rolling his eyes. I do not think you would agree to it, but they are sworn to be impartial and swear to the gods on their voting that they do not take bias in their decisions. You would be allowed to defend your friend, since you speak more well. He would not have to defend himself if he does not wish. He can
Or have an
a
elf
representative.
defending him that may or may not have his best interests.
Yes. No, he would have his best interests.
Well,
I thought you were
but-
going to say if he could not afford one would be
No.
preferred.
I more so mean subconscious biases are something that does happen amongst people.
Of course. In any system, there will be some subconscious biasy. We try to avoid that as much as possible through magic and deific as much as we can.
Deific.
If you agree to this, we can strike this man from ever seeking you out and completing this combat. But before you agree, you will be allowed to peruse our laws to see what you are signing up for, because if you are found guilty, you will be punishable under elven law in our lands. And if you win, charges will be dropped and you'll be no longer considered an enemy of our people.
What would the most severe punishment be?
Well, for this case, your opposing counsel will push for death. But obviously, if the jury does rule Alluvial guilty, there is a matter of the punishment as well to be ruled on. And death will likely, if I'm being honest, will not be likely if you went through the effort of learning our ways and presenting a case, and if you speak as elegantly as you do here and as convincingly. Even if you were found guilty, you'd probably be serving some less sentence. But based on what I've heard from Alluvial, I feel like he'd be too proud to admit fault in this matter.
I would much rather just kill this dude and be done with it.
Bissy will think back to you. If I were a woman, I would be wet right now at her offer.
Jesus.
Nothing's stopping you.
And out of character as well. Like, I in every way want this because it's my ability to be a pretend lawyer in this particular example. I think that we could win that way. I think you could also win if we set the terms of wealth low enough. I think if we could put the wealth at about 30,000 gold, and he can't use objects that penetrate walls directly, and you can't use
I'm fine
objects
with
that
those
penetrate
arrows.
walls.
I'm fine with those arrows.
Well, I think the worry is if in first round he wins, he can basically shoot you from across the map and kill you instantly.
When I
Yeah,
walk
but
out,
he wouldn't be able to
when I
see
walk
you.
out, he won't even be able to hit me.
I'm worried that he would. If we give him enough wealth, he can basically see through the walls. He can see the glowy patterns of alluvial and then take the shot.
We'll see.
Because the thing is, after watching some of those fights with Utaragar, like a character prepped with a bow character prepped with enough wealth and time.
Well, unlimited wealth and whatever. Yeah, sure.
It didn't even seem to take unlimited wealth.
I mean, he had like unlimited wealth, and he had like scrolls. That, you know what I mean? Like it was way more wealth than this guy would ever have access to.
Is there also any way that we would be able to seek counsel with the king
Of the elves.
Yes, about making for diplomacy.
Yes,
I mean,
you would
not-
be given access to our people to learn what you need to perform adequately in the trial, of course.
Well, just so that we can make diplomatic arrangements and hopefully make things better between our countries.
That will be the inevitable goal of any outcome that follows, whatever the results of this are.
Yeah, but I would just like to know if it's gonna be possible in any way, or if we have to like do that ahead of time, like put in a form or something.
No, if you are in our presence prepping for a trial, obviously Alluvial will be confined. I believe you guys call it house arrest. He'll be confined to a certain area, so he's not just roaming around doing what he pleases, but within reason, he will be given access to whatever we agree is reasonable to prepare for trial.
I assume they will talk about all that.
I kill whatever. What's this guy's name?
Don't believe you ever got his name.
I didn't. I'm asking you for it.
I'm not sure what kind of magics you possess, and knowing one's true name can be dangerous.
It can be a fake name. I need something to identify.
Something to call him with? Sure. You may call him.
I can call him. I can make up a name, but you won't like it.
Yes, I don't prefer you give him a name.
Coward. His name is Coward now. So no, I don't say that.
You may call him Analeth.
So after I kill Analeth, is it possible that we can still open up diplomacy with the? Like, you seemed a little excited about the prospect of talking. I get that.
If you are able to best him, you've done so under all of our rules, and there will be no ill will with our people to you.
Not so much that. I meant as far as like setting up for trade or negotiations or things like that.
Yes.
This would not hamper any of that.
Oh.
Assuming you did not break any rules or do anything dastardly to win.
I won't break any rules that I know about, and that's all I should be held accountable for.
Yes.
I know that's not how it works.
It is how it
sometimes you're
works.
held accountable for rules that you don't know.
As long as you do not break any of these rules we've been writing here.
Rules that you don't know about.
Alluvial, is it combat that you want then?
Yes.
Then
I want to kill him.
I would like to stipulate that we meet somewhere then in the middle. Let's say 25,000 gold.
I originally wanted 140,000.
Yes, and we wanted 0. But both of those numbers are quite unrealistic.
I can attest that 25 is somewhere between those two.
It is between the 50,000 you said and the 10,000 or the 8,000 that I said.
33,000.
I would be okay with that. Alluvial, can you agree to 33,000?
There's no amount of gold he's gonna have that's gonna. 33,000 is fine.
There's no amount, so we can go higher.
No, I say that like almost offhandedly.
Okay. So we can agree 30,000 is a fair allotment.
You can have 33,000 gold. Yes.
All right. She waves a hand and it pens in 33,000 GP.
I would much rather talk to the elves, though, but
if we sign this document here, that will be off the table.
Well, it
I'm
sounds
not
like we'll
willing
be
to-
signing this document.
In truth, I'm not willing to put my freedom or my life on the line for people with this rule set. It's unfair and unjust, the entire thing that I'm currently going through. And I can't, I currently, right now I have to make this decision, and I have no idea what I'm actually signing up for because I don't know the rules or the laws. So why would I ever walk into your country surrounded by your people so that I could be murdered for appearing while under the guise of combat or some
I
other
did say
night?
you would be given time to read our laws to prepare for the trial.
I thought that would be when I was there.
Yes, to
But
prepare for the
there's
trial.
any number of things I could do while I'm there that also get me killed. It's not worth it. The
There's
risk isn't
nothing you could do short from killing another elf or dominating one's another mind that would result in that outcome.
I don't trust you. I don't trust the elves.
That is
You have proven
your
yourself
right.
untrustworthy, so I would rather kill one of your people and move on.
She squints her eyes at that when you say it like that.
You're forcing me to do it. I don't want to do it. When she squints her eyes, that's what I say. I don't want to kill him. You're forcing me to do it.
It sounded like you did when your friend was excited to talk it
I'm
out.
explaining to you now
said you'd
why.
rather kill.
I would rather kill him than put myself at your mercy.
You are not putting yourself at our mercy. You are
From
defending
your point of
yourselves.
view. I would not walk back into your city.
I
under
believe
these
Alluvial's concern here is fair, and your point of opposition is also fair, but they are hard to separate from each other. Alluvial has reasons to distrust the Elven kingdoms, and he is worried that genuinely walking within your boundaries might result in the triggering of some additional rule that we may not be aware of.
We could hold the trial in a neutral place, if that was the make or break of it. I would, Bisaba, you have convinced me, I would prefer a peaceful outcome to this. But if you are... We could be drafting another document for rules of how you would want the trial to take place. The trial operates under the same... When I said you'd be subject to our laws, I meant for the punishment. If you were to be found guilty, you'd be subject to our disciplinary actions.
Well, this is Alluvial's deal to make, so I do not wish to insert my personal desires over top of Alluvial's.
The rules of the courts are very similar to your own.
The problem is the trial could potentially lead to my death, and I would have no way to defend myself.
That is why
I control this. I control the outcome of this.
This is the reasoning the elf gave for this option as well.
That he could die? That's nonsense.
His reasoning was he is in control of the outcome of this and not a jury of his peers.
He's not.
Neither of you believe you will die, so it is not an issue.
That's very true. He could be as arrogant.
Yes, I am quite certain he is, considering you both attempted the same trick.
In truth, I would rather...
What you both fell for.
What if...
I would rather die... He didn't fall for it. He knowingly murdered an innocent person in the street.
That is true.
So that he didn't fall for anything. But I would much rather trust my ability... At least I would have a say in my own death. You know?
What if there was... Is there any way to guarantee that death is not the outcome? I'm assuming probably not.
It is not, but if I told you as I'm being as honest as I can, I would believe it'd be very unlikely if you conducted yourselves, minus Alluvial and Chandra to a bit, if you allowed Bisaba to represent you and he conducted himself as he has now, I believe death would not be on the table for punishment should he be found guilty. I believe there would be some manner of, if you were found guilty, some manner of punishment to absolve this matter, some
debt of servitude or
something like that.
Something similar to the man that was wronged.
Some
temporarily.
Of course, it wouldn't be something akin to a life sentence, obviously. But I understand Alluvial's predicament. He's putting his faith in my judgment, which he has no reason to, and as he said multiple times, he doesn't trust our people. So this is ultimately your decision.
I'm trying to think what would Alluvial's perspective be?
Yeah, it kind of
He's paranoid about death. Like, he's terrified of death, but at the same time, would he be willing to... I'll be honest. All right. Steve, you're not going to like this. But...
I want you to be able to do what you want to do as a player, by the way, just for the record.
I'm saying Alluvial doesn't know what the Queen was told. You went and talked to Galore without him. So he doesn't know what you told him and what he told the Queen. So while he believes you probably, well, he believes that you were trying to protect him and keep him from getting into something. He has no idea why this is happening. He doesn't know if the Queen knows all the things that this other guy did or any of the steps that led to this. And
well, he did say that the man was allowed to go tell the Queen everything.
Right, but you teleported away to talk to him alone. Alluvial has no idea, and you never came back and told me what you said. So he has no idea of the conversation that took place. He doesn't know if you mentioned all of the things that led to the problem, all the things that the elf did, the murder in the streets.
Right, Alluvial's making reverse insinuations. He's assuming that certain things would have been either refrained from being spoken or like that Bissy's intent can't be proven, and so therefore...
No, it's not that. It's not Bissy's intent. He's thinking, basically his point of view is the Queen would never have, the Queen would have had this dude immediately arrested if she had all the information. He killed 2 citizens. He set one up to die and outright purposely, intentionally murdered another in the street.
The problem I thought was actually clarified with the Queen last session, where the Queen said we are trying to make diplomatic ties with the Elven Kingdom, and so we have to kind of go by what the Elven Kingdom is saying is acceptable in order to kind of keep those.
Has no idea what information she has to make that choice.
And it's not even necessarily what Bissy said; it could be what he said to the Queen after he spoke to Bissy.
Because he wasn't there, he has no idea the conversation that took place. So he's like, I would rather face it myself head on than risk death without the information.
Out of character and in character, like Bissy is not considering this a loss, whether or not we deal with this socially or not. What I want most from this is I ultimately want this resolved, and what Bissy wants most is to make sure that barbaric laws like this no longer exist in any kingdom. This is an absolute insanity and a travesty to the Elven people. He understands why it exists. It's like one of those things that the elves are like, no one's ever going to evoke this ever again. This is fine to sit here. And that sort of like oversight is exactly the kind of shit that elves do. They're like,
there's an actual law someplace where you can't put vanilla ice cream on apple pie on Sunday or something really stupid like that. And it still exists.
Right. But it's not enforced. So we just assume that will make the law go away, and that's not how laws work. And here, like, Bissy wants actual action done on this. So if it's especially better for him when he presents this, like, your elf died because our man was trying to defend us from what he perceived as a threat because your men took action without telling us they were going to take that action. Like it's if you kill him, it is a great presentation to Bissy when he goes to talk to the Elven King about like why this law is terrible.
Still just as good a presentation.
True.
Like, he lost his life for literally no reason because he tried to protect the group from the elves who stopped us from accomplishing our goal.
Yeah, in every way, this is a great sales position for Bissy for like getting rid of some barbaric law like this. I mean, if they want to continue to be the orcs, they most certainly can. But so you can
say he'd rather.
There, if that is the case, there are just 2 more matters I had for the rule set. So we agreed on the cost, 33,000. Allowable preparations. So amount of time spent before entering the match. Basically, how many rounds do you want of prep? 0 or X amount?
Say 18 seconds.
So 3 rounds?
Like, what does that entail exactly?
Like, you could do anything to prepare.
No, I'm saying, like, I can have spells on going to the place?
No,
Well-
we don't want to have that. We don't want to
So
have
the-
that. 'cause that gives him
That's
a-
what I'm... Well,
Yeah, so she's clarifying the default position is you're going there, no one has any buffs on. You're no magic
problem
on you
is,
at all.
I'm not fighting him without, literally my
Preemptive
entire
buffs.
build is built around being fused with my familiar. That takes 10 minutes. So, that's non-negotiable.
Okay, I wouldn't count that as like
Okay.
a preemptive
So outside
buff.
of that, yeah, 3 rounds is fine.
Okay. So she'll write down 18 seconds as agreed amount of preemptive time before you step foot in the arena.
Yes.
And the last thing, a date.
What? Oh, never mind.
Well, I am
It's a
honored
known
by your
better.
offer. No. Let us. I will need to communicate with our contact in Geffen, and I will let you know as soon as we have a date.
Now, I do have a question.
Mm-hmm.
You said death is an unlikely but a possible outcome.
Mm-hmm.
What if instead of death, he's given the chance to kill Alluvial himself via this combat?
So would
Instead
I have
of
the
the
combat
death.
only if I'm found guilty?
Yes. That way, neither of you have to die if you're not found guilty, and then we could work on these diplomatic things.
The
And then
issue with
if
that
not-
is if my elven citizen doesn't get his result, what you'd have to give him the option to claim the trial by combat, and then
Well,
either side,
but
whoever
what if
loses,
you
will want to claim it.
presented it to him as an option, and if he were to agree to that. I mean, I'm assuming you're going to show him these rules anyway, so that he's aware ahead of time what the rules are, right?
Yes, I'm just saying if we give this option to any side, I'm assuming the losing side will want to invoke it because they don't want to lose. So you just come back to where we are right now.
Yes. Let's
Well, it's not
stick
so
with.
much not wanting to lose. I would be willing to not do this altogether. I'll lose right now if it doesn't mean me dying or being hunted. Your man is insane and
If
wants
you're
to fight to the death
imprisoned-
for no reason.
If you're in prison for life,
Right, that's what I'm saying. But it's not about losing. It's about punishment
dying.
for no crime. That's what I'm against. I'm not against losing. I'm against being punished for no reason.
But if you lose, you will be punished for no reason, according to you.
Well, yeah. That's why I'm not willing to do the trial. I'd rather just kill your what was his name? Claudius? Cowardice? Something. I'd rather just kill him and be on with it. Be done with it.
habeas corpus.
Habeas corpus.
I would rather not kill him. But I will.
If you'd
I'm
rather
assuming-
not kill him, then you should do the trial.
I'm assuming
I would not put my life at the mercy of people who would.
Well, then we have a fair
Try to
set of
kill
rules,
you
and
for
we're
defending
running
yourself.
away from them.
If I could guarantee that death would not be a possibility as a...
I would not subject myself either. Let's be honest. I'm not going to take a punishment for something that I didn't do.
Fine, then let's just continue as we were discussing.
Alright, then we will fully sign this document once we have a date in place.
Yes.
As far as I'm concerned, the sooner the better.
Indeed. Until then, I guess, I don't know if it has to go without saying, but our elven citizen has agreed not to hunt you or harm you. I'm assuming...
Oh, I don't just attack people from invisibility near the bushes when they come home after a long day's work, like some people.
I'm
But you don't have to
assuming-
worry about me attacking anyone. If you need me to say it, I will not seek him out or attack him from any guy. Like he did me. I had to add that in. I try not to. I try not.
I will take your word and trust you as you are taking our word and trusting us in this manner. And she kind of stands and motions for the door that you guys can leave from.
Thank you.
She will give you a copy of the drafted rules set as well, just so you guys could think on it if there's anything else you want to change. And it is getting late. I know some of us got work in the morning and all that, so
it is.
This sounds like a decent place to close off. So let's get some experience.
Just to be clear, it was 33,000
GP.
of the price of crafting the item.
So
you mentioned crafting the item, so I want to make sure I know what I'm planning for.
Yeah.
Is it actual store-bought price or crafted item price?
It is the cost of crafting. Okay. It is the amount of money you could spend to get them. So if you can craft it, then you can craft it. But if you have to buy it, then you'd have to buy it. But you have access to.
She doesn't know what I can craft or what I can get crafted.
Yeah, but she did say he was going to be crafting. So
he can't craft things in 2 days or 1 day.
He can craft 8,000 GP worth the items in that time.
And so all the rest of it would have to be bought.
And
wait, why does that have to be 1 day? You guys haven't set a date yet.
Yeah.
I said the sooner the better. So as soon as possible.
Well, yeah, but you have to set it up with Geffen and all that. I'm assuming it was going to be a while. So, but anyway, maybe not. Maybe if you can rush it within a day, then yeah, he wouldn't be able to. But yeah,
we shall see.
18,000 everyone can take home for these good negotiations.
That is almost a level. It is so close to a level, John.
How close?
Holy shit, yeah.
It is 900 experience away.
Okay, I would give it to you, but this alluvial thing, you just negotiate at your current level.
No, I don't disagree. I'm fine waiting on it because I know we'll get it next session.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. So yeah, that is.
I'm gonna delay the fight until the next session, and I'm gonna get my level in it. I'm joking, obviously.
Well, I mean, I could just do this. I could employ what Steve does, or most people will do. I'll just level him up to or whatever.
Yeah, or you just have us timestamp this, and you take a copy of Alluvial's character sheet, and we basically say it occurs.
Fight it at. Yeah, then we could do that too.
Yeah. If we have to, but I don't think that'll be the case. So.
Yeah. Either way, next session will be the level up anyway.
Yep.
But yeah, thanks to everyone who was watching. GG's, and I'll shut the stream down now.